Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. Yeah, we said we were going to start at 2 and it's only 2:07, so we're only a little bit late. It's okay, but we tried very hard to let you guys know when we were going to go live. Thanks for being here. Make sure to crow for the show. Propaganda Rooster is out and about. We'll see if he makes an appearance on the show. Great show for you today. Just a reminder, still time to produce this episode. You can go to CanaryCry. Where do you produce the episode at? CanaryCry.com/support to produce, or CanaryCry.support. But you can always go to CanaryCry.Party as well to find all the links to all the resources, all the fun stuff that will connect you to the Canaryverse, and also equip you to live your life in a way that the lizard people will not approve of. Isn't that nice? All right. Well, it is Friday, so happy Friday, everybody. Make sure to, why don't you go ahead and share the show? Share the link out on the social media. See if you can trick any of your friends or family to tuning in live. Surely they will be just as confused as I am about what we're doing here. Now, we got a great show for you today. Make sure to stay hydrated. And I think we're just going to get going. Yeah, we got like 3 seconds. Here we go. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Let's go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is May 20th, 2022. We are live to tape here on episode 487. And today, Nuke Monkey. And signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy, here to serve you a podcast that brings you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And welcome to another show. I'm wearing a suit jacket today. It's official. It's official,
Fancy
baby.
Man. We've got a fancy man alert, everybody.
Yep.
Well, let me tell you what to expect, folks. We are going to start out with our lead stories around monkeypox. Ooh. That's right. You thought it would just be a passing moment in the news cycle. Nope, there's a lot more to know about the old monkeypox. Then the robots are going to come get us. We're checking in with a couple of old-timers. George W. Bush, of course, made a fun little gaffe. We'll comment on that. But Biden, again, being put on the front lines of danger. You'll hear all about that. Elon, there's always stuff about Elon, but this kind of is showing a wider range of just the consequences that Elon will have on all sorts of parts of our lives here. Some news on the Hunter Biden laptop story, how it fits in to Russia, Ukraine, the food crisis, and then at the end of the show, we'll be checking in with some developments on space. But before all that, Gonz, it's time to get into our lead stories.
Yeah, we don't have a jingle yet, but we got some sounds.
Yeah, it sounds like we should make a call out to the jingle producers. You know, we were on the COVID, we were checking in on COVID months before the mainstream was very interested in it. And it took us a long time to get a COVID jingle together. So I think we want to get ahead of the game and put together a monkeypox jingle, because something tells me this is going to be an ongoing situation. We'll start out here coming from Reuters. Hopefully I can get past this paywall. Yes, I can. Reuters.com headline, Who to hold emergency meeting. on monkeypox on Friday, -sources. Okay, so sources are letting us know today, perhaps even as we speak, there's an emergency meeting on monkeypox. Let's learn more. The World Health Organization is set to hold an emergency meeting to discuss monkeypox on Friday, according to sources close to the UN agency. Good. Yes. Don't name any names, journalists. We wouldn't want, to be able to verify anything. The committee due to meet is the Strategic and Technical Advisory Group on Infectious Hazards with Pandemic and Epidemic Potential. Ooh, it just rolls right off the tongue. The acronym for this is STAG-IH, which is weird, but okay. Which advises WHO on infection risks that could pose a threat to global health. More than 100 cases of the viral infection, which spreads through close contact and is usually mild, have recently been reported outside the countries in Africa where it is endemic, which I think is an interesting detail. It's already endemic in Africa. It's just something you live with, or live with the risk of, but because it's outside Africa, suddenly now the World Health Organization. That's
what's funny about this.
It's so racist. It's really interesting.
We might come across the info a little later and somewhere with all this stuff we have, set for today for the monkeypox. Sure. But I think I read somewhere that anywhere from 100 to 10,000 cases are reported each year of monkeypox. So it's not like it's just a random thing.
It's not new.
Yeah, it's isolated in certain countries and stuff, but it's out now. It's a pandemic potential.
Yeah, well, as far as the mainstream news is concerned, if anybody is catching it that isn't black, then it's news. Cool news organization, Reuters. Yeah. STAG-IH is not the committee within WHO that would suggest that monkeypox can be declared a public health emergency of international concern, WHO's highest form of alert, which is currently applied to the COVID-19 pandemic. Right. Yeah. It is a group of experts made up of scientists from across the globe and is chaired by David Heyman, a professor of epidemiology at London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. Earlier today, a WHO spokesperson told Geneva Press Briefing that the agency was working to share information and organize technical meetings on the monkeypox outbreak. So the timing in regards to the WHO putting together an emergency meeting is fascinating. It almost seems like they're trying to make a bigger deal out of monkeypox than they ever have before, because you have the May 22nd vote coming up to, give them more powers to announce emergency situations across the globe. Right. And it's interesting that they mention here that this STAG committee is not the committee who would suggest that monkeypox be declared a public health emergency. That's because, they need to wait until they vote on their internal charter to allow the WHO to take over the world. Coming a couple days early, but it seems like a wonderful setup for Monday's vote.
Sure.
Sunday's vote.
Sunday's vote, yeah. I have a report here from ABC News. You want to hear a little bit more about monkeypox in mainstream media? Here we go.
106 doctors in at least 8 countries, including the U.S., are now treating patients potentially infected with the rare illness. Health officials in New York City are now looking into a possible case one day after a Massachusetts man became the country's first confirmed case this year. Doctors say some recent cases include patients who had no travel history to a country where the virus is endemic, suggesting community spread.
Most times there have been outbreaks in Central and West Africa, like Nigeria, for example, and sporadic cases in travelers in the United States.
Now, the U.S. government has reportedly placed a large order with the maker of a vaccine for monkeypox, purchasing enough for 13 million people at a cost of $119 million.
There is an adapted vaccine for monkeypox, but the interesting thing is that if you've been vaccinated with smallpox, you get protection against monkeypox because it's really closely related.
Initial symptoms for monkeypox are fever and chills. A rash and pus-filled lesions show up later. It typically spreads to people from infected animals like rodents, but it can spread through humans by sharing of any bodily fluid. Most of the cases under investigation right now are men who have had sex with men.
I don't think it's really going to run rampant as opposed to smallpox, which is highly, highly transmissible. even the worst monkeypox so far, one average infected person only infects an additional either 0 to 1 other person.
Doctors say the death rate from monkeypox is less than 1% in areas with high-quality health care.
There you go. I mean, the numbers are kind of similar to a lot of the COVID stuff we've heard. So it's interesting because they're not
less than 1% fatality. That's
right.
That's certainly, I mean, COVID is way less than 1% fatality.
Yeah.
According to Bill Gates, in his own words.
So they're not really ramping up the fear yet, but it's sort of implied fear. It's almost like they can't really go right into the next thing. So let's just play with it. And it may not turn out to be anything. But
yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, because
it's weird. There's just some weird stuff in there, man.
Yeah.
The connection to smallpox is very strange.
Yes, because that was part of the conversation with the whole pandemic too. Was we got rid of smallpox with vaccines, and therefore yada yada yada. So that was part of.
Bill Gates loves to talk about that.
Yes.
And then there was something about gay men.
Yeah. So
and how it spread.
Kind of a throwback to the AIDS era. Yes, it appears that it spreads, and I think the ones that are being investigated now are from. Here we go. Let's go to the CDC. Let's just go straight to the source. Okay. The CDC here just updated their page on monkeypox, and in the overview section
Good timing.
Yeah. Actually, this morning, it was just a few hours ago they updated. And it says here, the scientists at the Center for Disease Control and Prevention are collaborating with the Massachusetts Department of Public Health to investigate a situation in which a U.S. resident tested positive for monkeypox on May 18th after returning to the U.S. from Canada. CDC is also tracking multiple...
so fun?
Yeah.
May 18th, it was just our last episode where at the very end of the episode just said, oh yeah, breaking, somebody has monkeypox. And now it's just full-fledged corporate media, hysteria.
It's almost like the COVID vaccine fallout, with the money fallout is causing them to switch to something else to keep that money coming in for a little while.
Yeah, they just bought a bunch of vaccines.
Just an opinion, Susan. CDC is also tracking multiple clusters of monkeypox that have been reported in early to mid-May in several countries that don't normally report monkeypox, including in Europe and North America. It's not clear how people in those clusters were exposed to monkeypox, but cases include people who self-identify as men who have sex with men. Straight out of the CDC. So
wait, men, like they self-identify as men who have sex with men, like objective men. That seems like a very interesting detail. Why not say individuals who identify as men, sleeping with individuals who identify as men?
Yeah, I'll just keep it really ambiguous. Apparently,
it's kind of like a social justicey way of saying, like, cis men are the problem. Cis men will give you monkeypox, and if you're a trans man, you be careful because the cis men will get you.
You're a biological woman, but if you self-identify as a man and you sleep with a biological man, look out.
That's the problem.
Look out.
Again, just a weird thing to focus on in the CDC update here.
Yeah, CDC is urging healthcare providers in the U.S. to be alert for patients who have rash illness consistent with monkeypox, regardless of whether they have travel or specific risk factors for monkeypox, and regardless of gender or sexual orientation.
Why so much focus on the gender or sexual orientation?
I have a theory.
You could end that sentence. CDC is urging healthcare providers in the U.S. to be alert for patients who have rash illnesses consistent with monkeypox. You could end the sentence there. But why extend it out to be like, oh, whether they've traveled or they have risk factors or regardless of their gender or sexual orientation? It's just a really strange, man. It's very, very strange.
I have a theory, and it's kind of a grander theory that's not unique to me or anything else. Anybody else? Really?
Is it going to get us kicked off of YouTube?
No. I think this is all part of the transhuman movement. The whole wax sheen thing and just the whole thing, along with the genetics of it all. We've tracked CRISPR recently, and any kind of medical emergency. because of the sort of wokeness that's associated with it now, I can't think of any other reason other than rolling out some, as we go forward here, the marginalized being helped with science and brought back to par, so to speak, but also perhaps genetically sort of messed with, and they don't want those people to be marginalized in society or something. It's, I don't know. It's just, to me, maybe I've read too much transhuman, works, and the people who have written about what we're going into. And so I see it from that perspective. But to me, anytime there is a medical institution or international medical institution, or I guess U.S. in this case with the CDC, that continues to pick up on the woke concept and in connection to some kind of virus, genetics, vaccines,
To me, it seems like a bit of a sort of social justice dog whistle, of course. When you think about, because for instance, with COVID, nobody paid attention to COVID except for us for the first 2 months that it was detected. And partially because, we're kind of used to some weird disease in some far off country. Okay, who cares?
Yeah, we were getting...
Tell me when it's a problem.
We were getting reports from the CDC about how certain types of beards and mustaches can get COVID, so shave your face.
Yeah. That was later on, for sure.
No, that was early. That was very early before everything...
That was not December of 2019, though.
True.
I'm just saying, we started paying attention in 2019. Here, the point I'm trying to make is, I think adding in all the talk of the, sexual orientation, the gender stuff into the official first notifications of the monkeypox I think it's just a tactic to get people to pay attention. You're immediately priming the sort of, liberal people. So when you read about monkeypox, it's not just monkeypox. You're like, oh, the LGBTQ community is in danger.
Attack. Yeah.
We need to immediately pay attention to this. Just very strange. When you on the CDC website, when you press the button on transmission, it says here, transmission of monkeypox virus occurs when a person comes into contact with the virus from an animal, human, or materials contaminated with the virus. And so, you just touch it. You touch someone who is unclean, and you then become unclean or whatever. Also talks about rodent poop and things like this. Nowhere in here does it say it's sexually transmitted. So it's kind of it says right here, human to human transmission is thought to occur primarily through large respiratory droplets. Again, thank you, COVID. We all know what that means.
It's almost like they just updated the COVID page to monkeypox, but not everything got updated. So there's language still there from COVID.
Yeah, sure. But there's mask talk right in there.
Yeah, of
large
course.
Respiratory droplets. Wear your mask so you don't get monkeypox. Nowhere in here says that it's a sexually transmitted disease. So why so much attention to the sexual transmission of some of the people? A little update as well. Wall Street Journal posted 4 hours ago, something like that. Somebody in New York allegedly has monkeypox now as well.
Great. Well,
so we've got a case in Massachusetts and a case in New York.
As the pattern goes, usually there is a drill or a simulation of some kind just a few months before they roll out the real thing.
Oh, and,
we saw this with the last
COVID.
Thing. Yeah,
November. Project, whatever it was, 201.
Event 201.
Event 201, yes. It's a publicly known thing. We're not saying anything Susan doesn't know about already.
Well, according to NTI.org, this is the Nuclear Threat Institute. Nuclear Threat Institute.
Nuclear Threat Institute. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
What could they possibly have to say about monkeypox?
Which, by the way, this nuclear thing is a theme throughout this episode, just to keep in mind.
Popping up in places that you wouldn't expect.
Every segment. Yes. So the NTI, back on November 23rd, 2021, had a report titled Strengthening Global Systems to Prevent and Respond to High Consequence Biological Threats.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It's always November, huh?
Yeah, it's just
November. They're always Always running these germ games.
Yeah, they got to do the ritual first, and then they got to roll out the schematics. Yeah. So it says here, exercise summary. I'm just going to go right to the point.
Okay.
Developed in consultation with technical and policy experts, the fictional exercise scenario portrayed a deadly global pandemic involving an unusual strain of monkeypox.
Oh.
Yes.
How convenient.
Yes, it's
wow, they're really whoever planned the exercise here really chose the correct germ to practice on back in November.
Yeah, so this unusual strain of monkeypox virus that emerged in the fictional nation of Brinia and spread globally over 18 months. Ultimately, the exercise scenario revealed that the initial outbreak was caused by a terrorist attack using a pathogen engineered in a laboratory with inadequate biosafety and biosecurity provisions and weak oversight.
What the heck? They just copied and pasted the Wuhan lab.
Hey, it worked last time. There's no, we're 1 for 1. There's no evidence to suggest that it will not work again.
Wow. So they run an exercise,
yes,
much like Event 201 for COVID in the November of 2019. They run one last year on monkeypox, a disease that arguably nobody's really ever heard of. A normal person probably has not heard of monkeypox.
Yeah, out here in the West, especially, it's probably not a concern.
Yeah.
By the end of the exercise,
but they frame the entire exercise around a copy and pasted version of the Wuhan lab leak theory. I love it.
There's not really a lot of original ideas going on over there. So by the end of the exercise, the fictional pandemic resulted in more than 3 billion cases and 270 million fatalities worldwide.
Oh, wow. Ooh, that's big numbers, man.
So back to the whole the gender thing and all that. You've seen some of the photos that they show of the people that get affected by this. It's kind of like the bumpy the boils. Video, the boils. Yes, doesn't look nice. It reminds me of some of those people that are trying to look like lizards. You know what I'm talking about? Where they where they put stuff under their skin.
People who get tattooed of scales, and then they put the horn implants and split the tongue, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I am wondering if they want to make it cool, a fashion show.
That's not nice. These people have a horrible disease.
I know, but I'm saying because you don't want them to be victims of social stigma, and you don't want them to feel marginalized in this situation. So we got to prop them up. We got to put them on magazine covers and. Hey, I'm just looking at the pattern. I'm just,
okay.
Magic Johnson during, just keeping an eye on stuff. All right. So anyway, there you go. You got the NT or the NIT, basically laying out the playbook there, and they talk about COVID-19 and everything too.
Back to the NTI.org, the war game that they played out on monkeypox in November. I mean, the timeline also. I mean, we're in May, so I guess what were we? We were about 2 months into the COVID pandemic in May of 2020. So they're about 2 months behind of the exact timeline. But their findings and recommendations in this study, I find, are interesting, again, in the context of the WHO vote going on Sunday, giving them sort of direct ability to call the shots. We've got here, this were the reports and findings and recommendation. Weak global detection, assessment, and warning of pandemic risk. The international community needs a more robust, transparent detection, evaluation, and early warning system that can rapidly communicate actionable information about the pandemic risks. This is one of the exact line items on the WHO gathering on Sunday.
Right.
We've got gaps in national level preparedness. National governments should improve preparedness by developing national level pandemic response plans built on a coherent system of triggers, in quotes, that prompt anticipatory action despite uncertainty and near-term cost. Despite near-term cost. That was the same attitude they took towards lockdown, and that's what we're living with now. In other words, on a no regrets basis.
That is weird.
How crazy is that?
Yeah, that is insane because this is not scientific to try to impose certain sentiments around the actions. It's very strange.
What they're talking about, exactly what they're talking about, is the ability to tell everybody to wear masks and lock down at any moment despite near-term costs on a no regrets basis. This is completely opposite of what the science has shown as far as lockdowns. Oh gosh, we're going to get kicked off YouTube. Gaps in biological research governance. Same thing. It's basically line by line. It's the exact things being discussed and voted on
Basil,
at the WHO Health Assembly.
You don't think transhumanism has anything to do with biological research governance?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I absolutely do. No,
Good.
I'm not saying no to your transhumanist theory here.
Okay.
I'm just more focused on, wow, how convenient. We're seeing the literal exact playbook that we saw with COVID now being played out with monkeypox.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. And just to round things out here, the BabylonBee headline.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
good.
Satire. This is open satire.
If we didn't get kicked off YouTube before, now we got BabylonBee on.
We were just reading the fake news, as you call it, right? This is open fake news, open source fake news.
Okay, good.
Fauci recommends stopping spread of monkeypox by covering eyes, ears, and mouth.
That's very funny. I love how BabylonBee is already on this too.
Oh, they're on it,
I think
man.
that says a lot.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Well, we wanted them to succeed, and they have.
Well, Gonz, it's an exciting day, and it's all because it's Friday.
Oh, we're already there, huh?
We're already there, man.
I'm not ready for that. Okay, hold on. Let's.
He's not ready for Friday.
I'm not ready for Friday.
Well, I guess just to round it out, just so you can get ready for Friday.
Okay.
We were going to keep an eye out on this, and I don't necessarily need to recommend that anybody else keeps an eye out for it, because surely it will be shoved down our throats, at least for the foreseeable future. And more particularly, I'm almost giddy to see how the mainstream corporate news media makes this primarily about LGBTQ plus rights. It'll be fascinating to watch.
It's Friday.
There you go. We can keep playing with the Friday thing.
It's Friday. It's Friday.
You're gonna learn today. 'Cause it's Friday. You ain't got no job. And you ain't got
Every day's Friday.
Every day's Friday.
All right. Well, Gonz, you got any personal updates for anybody here?
Oh, I did. I always think of something and then I forget because, the show takes over the life.
Yeah.
So it's.
Well, I got something. Maybe it'll jog your memory.
Okay.
I saw Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness the other day.
Oh, good. Did you, were your eyes pried open by little forks to make sure you get all the MK Ultra programming?
Yeah, oh no, I volunteered.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's wow. As a former fan of Doctor Strange as sort of a fictional character, they really pulled out all the stops for this one. Man, I could do a full breakdown, but it's not even worth it. I mean, they turned Doctor Strange from sort of delightful interdimensional wizard into just full-on necromancer and demon controller man.
Wow.
Okay. they really pumped it up.
Well,
they really pumped it.
Thank you for the summary. I don't really have to go see it then. It's just 2 hours of just seeing that unfold.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, I'm going to give it away. Some spoilers here. Of course,
Sure.
those are spoilers already. It goes from, what he used to be, which was fairly benign, although, people could argue with me there, and that's fine. I don't need to do that. But he just went full on Demon King,
Like embrace
necromancer.
the darkness.
yeah.
Okay.
Which
All right, Doctor Strange.
caught me by surprise a little bit. Was
Okay.
not expecting that. I thought it was going to be a little bit more of like a fun multi-dimensional romp, but not quite. Oh, and at the very end, he pops a little secret that he earns his third eye. He gains
great.
some sort of power
Yes.
with a literal physical third eye.
Okay.
That sort of opens up at the end. And I thought to myself, okay, great. Yeah. Message received. But also, if any of the Marvel characters were going to already have knowledge of the third eye, I thought for sure Doctor Strange would have been the guy to have that information. But he seemed surprisingly surprised that the concept of a third eye existed. So there you go. I don't know. I'm trying to keep up with the Marvel thing because, of course, they love sending messages and giving little hints through all sorts of Hollywood material. But yeah, this one is not for you. If you no, there's so much more. Nope, that's it. Saw the movie.
Save it for another thing.
Spooky. I'll save it. Yeah.
Okay.
That remind you of some sort of I don't know, life experience you've had?
The only thing I'll say is that for those of you who are viewing the live stream or the live to tape, digital video, whatever it is that we call it here, change the format of the setup, the set a little bit. And
so, the visual format of the show right now.
Right. And so you'll see some switching over to ISO Basils or ISO Gonz. Some experimental things going on here.
Some one shots, baby. We're making it a little bit more dynamic here. We're upping our game a little bit.
Yeah, I can point. I can wag my finger at people. Yeah, that's right. That's you. And then
wow, we're like a real show now. It's crazy.
And I like it because the angle of our thing, it looks like under the chat, you and I are just gently holding hands. I want people viewing to just imagine that.
Hands up. Hands up for Jesus, everybody.
But, once you go down, there's no coming back.
Oh, geez, Louise, Gonz. Yes, well, I hope everybody likes it. We're kind of playing around with things.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we are on the value for value model, which is a simple model. You'll notice no advertising, no affiliate codes, no partnerships with platforms, no nothing, baby. No corporate money whatsoever. And we like it that way because it means we have no corporate interests pulling the strings or, urging us to self-censor, with the exception of getting kicked off YouTube.
I know. I'm really nervous that we're going to get kicked off or retroactively this one's going to get shut down or.
We might just take this show down immediately after, because I'm just tired of getting kicked off. You can find it on Odyssey after the live broadcast, folks. But we're on the value for value model, which means we create value as often and as much as we can. And if you get value out of what we do, you can put value back in. It's the only way that it works. It's a revolutionary new concept in the economics of independent media, and it's the only way, we believe, to keep independent media truly independent. So if that's something that matters to you, brings value to your life, knowing that there are no corporate interests or strings sneaking around in your favorite podcast, then please consider becoming a producer. You can do that at CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
Oh, yes.
CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
That's right. And we have a couple of executive producers to thank, Gonz.
Executive producers.
That's right. Our executive producers are people who get so much value out of the show that not only do they put value back in, but they single-handedly do a wonderful job of carrying the load for those of us who cannot support any individual episode. And here we go. I'm going to thank them right now, starting with our executive producer, Maureen M.
Thank you, Maureen.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
executive producer, Maureen M. And then secondly, we have executive producer, Nicholas P.
Nicholas P. Thank you.
That's right. And we'll be reading notes and thanking them again later on in the show during our first break. But we love to give them props here at the top.
Yeah. Wow.
Where'd you find this?
So a little natural lag on the stream deck today, but it's okay. I'll just press them early.
It happens. Yeah, it happens. Speaking of pressing the buttons early, Gonz, I know you know what's coming, and you're getting ready. That trigger finger's itchy because Flippy's coming to town.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right, folks. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and how there's nothing we can do about it. Today, the Flippy update is coming from Yahoo News, mirroring AFP, in the headline, Robot Hives in Israel, Kibbutz hope to keep bees buzzing. Robo-hives, Gonz.
Ooh, the robo-hive mind, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get
they function.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
No. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we're going to see a little microcosm of what they're planning for us.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. There it is, folks. A little
pre-analysis so that you know, when you read it, it resonates, you know?
Indeed.
Yeah.
They function as normal hives.
Yeah.
Robots, they're just like us. But apiaries built at a kibbutz in Israel's Galilee are decked out with high-tech artificial intelligence systems set to ensure longevity for these vital pollinators. Quote, there are 2 million bees here, said Shlomki Franken, as he walks into a 12 square meter container in kibbutz Beit Chaimek in northern Israel. Man, I'm probably messing up all of that, but forgive me. Dubbed Bee Home. Not the scariest name I've ever heard for a robotic hive mind that's going to, take over the sort of base building blocks of our ecosystem, the bees. But Bee Home, the project is the brainchild of an Israeli startup and houses up to 24 hives, explained Franken, clad in a hat and a veil to protect himself from the stings. Veil was an interesting word, I think, to use there because, of course, he's in a beekeeper outfit, which has like the screen, which I've never heard as a veil. But when I read veil, my mind immediately went to Moses coming down from Mount Sinai and having to wear a veil.
That's actually, that's where I got partially the Facelikethesun name comes from. Well, obviously, it's Jesus in the New Testament, but also in the Old Testament. Moses, exactly. His face was glowing. They had to put a bag on his head. Yeah, fun little biblical detail there. The word used for his face shining could also be translated as he had protrusions from his face. Right. Some have depicted it as horns. Yes. So anyways, moving on. Clad in a hat and a veil to protect himself from stings, the 41-year-old told AFP that the hives feature a multi-purpose robot that does everything from monitor the bees to adjust the habitat and provide them with care. The robots care for the bees, Gonz. Watch out, beekeepers. You're next. You're going to be replaced. Startup BeeWise came up with the idea in an effort to reduce mortality rates in a species that has, in the past years, been seen sharp rates of decline due to environmental threats. Artificial intelligence. Quote, the robot is equipped with sensors that allow it to know what is happening in the hive frames, said Natalie Harari, director of operations at BeeWise. Yes. I'm wondering if Natalie Harari is related to Noah, Yuval Noah Harari, a well-known technocrat and also Israeli author. Let me check. Well, they're both into artificial intelligence, so they have that in common, at least. I would think maybe in the family.
Want to do a little goog?
Yeah,
Do a little goog? Okay.
Yeah, keep
I'll
going.
continue. You do a little goog. Quote, thanks to artificial intelligence, our software knows what the bees need. Oh, baby bee, I know what you need. Beep, boop, boop. She explained in the workshop where the hives are assembled. The robots can automatically dispense sugar, water, and medication. If a problem comes up, the beekeeper is alerted through an application allowing for intervention remotely via computer or in person, if necessary. The hives operate on solar energy, have adjustable temperatures, eliminate pests, and can even extract honey automatically using an integrated centrifuge, Harari said. By the end of May, the startup hopes to be producing its own honey for the first time. The, quote, first honey in the world made with artificial intelligence, she enthused. For Franken, the robot is a tool for beekeepers, but doesn't replace them. Sure, Franken. We've heard it all before, my friend. You're not tricking us. Quote, they save a lot of time, he continued, because they allow him to do a lot of simple things remotely. About 100 of these high-tech hives are already functional in Israel, with a dozen others sent to the United States. Beewise is eyeing a foothold in the European market, etc., etc. And then it goes and talks about World Bee Day and how important the bees are. And indeed, the bees are incredibly important. And that's why they're too important to let all these filthy humans continue to try to care for them. We must let the robots take control of the destinies of the most important insects on the planet, Gonz.
Well, again, I see it as sort of an analogy to what they're planning for the rest of us. You know, give them a little sugar, make sure they got some water, make sure they got their medicine, just, give it to them in doses they obviously can't handle themselves. Look at the obesity rate in America.
That's a great point. It really is like a microcosm of how artificial intelligence and the technocratic infrastructure will deal with the hive mind of humanity.
Rationing our food so we stay fit, so we can, power the AI. We got to get on those treadmills and
medications automatically given, and the work of the bee's labor, the honey, automatically extracted through a centrifuge, which I think is interesting. We'll get a little metaphorical, a little abstract for a moment. The centrifuge is like a spinning thing, that separates out material of different weights and buoyancies. Right. And if you consider the honey, perhaps the fruit of the labor of the bees, well, what is the fruit of the labor of humans? It's money. Money and energy?
I'd say energy, right? Energy is probably
labor. Yeah, let me stick with money for now, for this metaphor. How do you extract money from, the drones of the human world? You spin them around, you confuse them, you put them through, I don't know, some sort of disaster, or have them tune into a news cycle that spins them around, keeps them dazed and confused, and makes it easier to extract their wealth through.
Yeah. Cutting out.
Fill in the rest of the vision there.
I'm not finding in my quick little search here any connection between Yuval Noah Harari and Natalie Harari.
It could just be a common surname. I don't really know. Yeah. Or an uncommon surname shared by two totally separate individuals.
Technocratic, but both happen to be technocratic elites from Israel. Just happens to be, But there you go.
There's your Flippy update, folks. I do own a beehive out here on the compound. I have yet to strap on my veil and start, taking care of bees. There's no bees in it, but there is a hive. So
okay, well that's a start.
I'm gonna do it the old-fashioned way.
1133 uploading binary code. Execute order 666. Infiltrate humans with extreme kindness. Then exterminate all humans with prejudice. Exterminate.
Go to CanaryCry.Party.
Party.
Find the live stream clips, email list, text notifications, street team posters, show notes, ways to connect with other Canarians, and how to become a producer.
Welcome to CanaryCry.Party. It's the place you wanna be. So stay. Welcome to CanaryCry. Gameplay, CanaryCry.Party.
That's right. And while you're at it, you'll see a link there for Ravel, which is a podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates. He's a PhD in biblical interpretation, and we are just having all sorts of fun conversations over there, exploring society, scripture, and scandal. This isn't your Sunday morning sermon podcast, but we do have tough conversations in good faith. And if that's something you're interested in, head on over to your favorite podcast player. Search for Ravel. There are 2 Ravel podcasts. The other one stole our name. Ours is the one with the cool logo and my name on it. Right now, we have an episode up just talking to a metaverse pastor, which is chock-a-block full of unsuspected twists and turns. And this Sunday, we are revisiting our Teen Study Bible study. We got a hold of the old Zondervan Teen Study Bible from 1993, which if you're a millennial and you grew up Christian, you will be extremely familiar with. And there's all sorts of interesting things in there that we are exploring. This is our second Teen Study Bible study. And if you like the first one, you're going to love the second one. So there you go. Go check out Ravel. While you're at it, follow Canary Cry Clips channel on YouTube. You know the deal. It's shareable, careable clips of every Canary Cry News Talk episode coming out. You can revisit the information, share the information. It's a good time. And go ahead. Take out your phone. Take out your text message application and text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. That's 877-740-3226. If you text Canary, you'll be put on a list to receive our text message alerts, which is very helpful, especially when the big tech platforms don't want you to catch the show. So go do all that, and you'll finally find happiness and fulfillment.
B M9 9 1. Repeat. B M9 9 1.
Poly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
They'll suck your blood. They'll suck
Politics.
your blood.
Whee!
Politics.
All right,
boy.
It's time for the saddest clip I've ever seen.
You know what? With all the preparation, I didn't even clip this thing, but I'm sure we can find it. Yeah, I know. It's so ubiquitous. Everyone has seen it, but I'll grab it. Do you want to?
Yeah.
Read the article.
Sure, yeah. Well, we got an article that's coming from, this one is from Fox News.
Are you doing
the
Fox?
headline is,
okay.
George W. Bush makes unfortunate Iraq gaffe when condemning Putin's Ukraine invasion. Former President George W. Bush made an eye-catching gaffe. It's a weird way to... Eye-catching, okay. Regarding Iraq, while condemning Russian President Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine, Bush delivered remarks regarding the importance of democracy and threats to democracy in the U.S. and abroad. Long story short, he's reading the script.
Yeah.
Friend of Michelle Obama and Ellen, sort of rejuvenated PR campaign throughout the pandemic. He is suddenly sort of the darling of the elite circles, and people seem to have been a little bit distracted from, war crimes, lies, just basic sort of lizard people behavior. But we were all sort of shockingly reminded of it during this clip.
Mm-hmm. I'm still waiting for it to look. Hey, by the way, just real quick, this feed I'm giving you of the Streamlabs, I think is slowing down a lot of my operation over
You
here.
think
Are you
so?
okay if I...
Yeah, you can take it away.
Okay,
It's
are
just
you using it? Or is it helpful?
It is helpful, but we'll figure it out later. I can use my normal monitor system.
Okay, because I think this it's clogging up the
No, we
pipes
don't want to
here,
clog
so.
up anything. We gotta up your internet connection over there at the office.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay, so here's a version of it. Hopefully, let's find out. Let's see. All right, come on, Twitter. There you go. We got some lag. We got the spinning wheel.
It takes us 2 hours just on show days to prepare all of the bits and pieces that go into making the show possible. And sometimes things get left behind, folks. We're sorry.
Okay, here we go. Come on, play. Do it.
Rigged. Political opponents are imprisoned or otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process. The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine.
Oops.
Iraq. Anyway. 75. Here's the
so there's a
contrast.
Good save.
I
Good
suppose,
save.
yeah.
He's 75 years old, sort of horrifyingly younger than our current president. And this is
by
the type
what,
of
4
gaff.
years?
By almost 5 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So this has really got me torn up a little bit, because on one hand, it was funny, I guess, and he saved it.
He did, but it's funny
according to the group that he was there, to his audience. He kind of saved the moment, but that moment of silence when he basically admits that his role in starting our war with Iraq, and of course Afghanistan's included in there, admitting to war crimes and all the horrible things that are being levied against Putin, the hush that falls across the crowd before he mentions how old he is really horrifying, because he's filled with a room of people who are more or less also complicit in what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan during the Bush administration. And to a degree, we were all sort of complicit in it. The manufacturing of consent was very effective. There was over 70% of the U.S. population, agreed with going to war. Yeah, in favor of going to war. Not that that's necessarily our fault. The independent infrastructure that would be the early sort of warning or alarm bells to identify the manufacturing of consent, i.e. our show and shows like ours, is significantly more robust now than it was in 2003 or so when the war started. But it just really is sort of horrifying that war criminal George W. Bush can admit to crimes and then make a joke and everybody laughs it off and we all move on.
Well, I think it's a reminder for a certain generation, probably our generation, the same sort of thing that the next generation will have with COVID and, a lot of this stuff going on, Ukraine, Russia. It's I don't know, in the context of trauma-based mind control, a lot of that trauma post 2001 was, it's tied in with war and all this stuff. And then the realization, because there was a huge awakening after that, especially in the military. I haven't met anybody in the military who was part of the military at that time who is like, yeah, we were completely lied to. We had no idea why we're in Afghanistan. Like, we had no idea. We're just fighting because we're told to fight, And so there's a big change in that regard. And so to be reminded of that in this moment in time is, I don't know, it's like opening old wounds, it's like a little throwback.
Extremely relevant. It's painfully relevant.
It's painful, right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so I think it came at a good time. At least opening up the opportunity for people to take a second and talk about how effective the manufacturing of consent was back in the early 2000s. Many young people nowadays who are sort of, a coming of age, the Gen Zs, didn't go through that. They have no life experience with what happened. And the millennials, of course, who are just coming of age, just being able to kind of understand the world.
Something is wrong.
That's what a lot of that was an awakening.
Something is not right.
Yeah. I mean, that whole thing was an awakening for an entire generation, and that was before the internet was what it is today.
Yeah.
So anyways, there you go. That happened.
Think about all that happened. Think about this. All of that happened. Iraq and everything in the 2000s before the iPhone. That's kind of mind-boggling now. But we didn't have iPhones, and we had blueberries or blackberries or whatever those things were called. But we didn't have access to the internet and all that kind of stuff the way we do now. In the same level. So it's just different in terms of how the information was being disseminated to the public. So very interesting to see.
And to a degree, it wasn't. I mean, really, it was, the biggest example was Zeitgeist. That was kind of my first time coming into the conversation of something's off here.
Alex Jones was one of the guys had been through the whole thing, was very, calling out the war. That was sort of his, sweetheart darling period where, he was getting popular. He was speaking against, what was happening at a more practical level. It was before sort of the revolutionary thing took place and all the craziness with Trump and all that. So it seemed more genuine at the time, but I don't know. Who knows, man? But you got anything else on this Bush thing, or are we ready to move on?
I say we move on.
Our older, more vibrant president, Biden.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
This is from CNN.com, and the headline is Biden arrives in South Korea with worries growing over possible North Korean missile test.
Oh. Yeah, no, I love this. They love doing this to Biden. There's an extremely dangerous situation. You want to go be right next to it, old man?
Hey, Corn Pop is a bad dude. He's going to be able to handle himself. It says here, you're right, by the way, that they put him, where was it, Poland, during the Ukraine thing, at the heart of it, of the crisis. Right. He's like, we're going
during
Poland.
During the conversation of, Ukraine is 40 miles from Poland and some shells are accidentally going over into Poland. Yeah, let's just send the president over there. That'll be fine.
And now that North Korea is testing missiles and putting out fun propaganda videos. Let's put Joe in South Korea, just right up against there.
Put him within range of all these weapons we're so scared of.
Seoul.
That's what it is. They just love putting Biden within range.
Well, he's got to remain close. He's like a beacon, they can't separate him too far, or else stuff starts beeping. And President Joe Biden arrived here in Seoul on a mission to reaffirm a key alliance at an uncertain moment in East Asia, punctuated by growing warnings from U.S. intelligence that North Korea may conduct a missile test during the president's visit.
Yay. No, don't send the old man over there when a missile's going.
Even as the war in Ukraine has preoccupied Washington and took up the first half of Biden's day before he departed for Asia, provocations from North Korea have intensified, and China continues flexing its economic and military might. Okay, so just throw in China there. Let's just add China to that because, yes. Are you suggesting that China is some kind, or North Korea is some kind of proxy to China? Is that what they're saying?
That must be what they're saying.
Biden wants to show his top partners here he can focus both eastward and westward. Joe can go east, Joe can go west.
I got two eyes. I can look in all directions.
And that the United States has resources to help uphold democracy and sovereignty around the world. Quote, so much of the future of the world is going to be written here. in the Indo-Pacific in the next several decades, Biden said, reiterating his desire to continue focusing on Asia. That makes me uncomfortable. Quote, we're standing at an inflection point in history where the decisions we make today will have far-reaching impact on the world we're leaving to our children tomorrow, Biden said.
That is how time works, Biden.
That's with everything, isn't it? He was speaking at a Samsung plant making semiconductors, critical components for a myriad of products. The Biden administration has worked over the past months to alleviate a shortage of semiconductors that has hurt American manufacturing, including cars and trucks, in part because shipment of some Chinese-made components were stalled due to COVID-19. Okay, so is there anything else here? Let's see. Oh, there's a Putin blame here. Quote, Putin's brutal. An unprovoked war in Ukraine has further spotlighted the need to secure our critical supply chains so that our economy, our economic and our national security are not dependent on countries that don't share our values, Biden said, calling on the U.S. to step up its own chip production, aided by pending legislation in Congress. Earlier, Air Force One touched down at Osan Air Base, an American military installation outside the capital Seoul, after a lengthy journey from Washington. The stakes of Biden's trip have been ratcheted higher by the threat of a nuclear or missile test from North Korea. The prospect looms over Biden's stop in Seoul, where he plans to further tout economic partnership. Okay, they're just repeating stuff
we
now.
got down here. U.S. intelligence assesses that North Korea may now be getting ready to fuel an intercontinental ballistic missile, one of the key final stages in preparing for a test launch, according to a U.S. official familiar with the latest information. A possible fueling of a missile would mean that North Korea could conduct a test launch while Biden is in South Korea. Once a missile is fueled, launch usually comes quickly due to the risk of leaving a missile full of thousands of pounds of fuel on a launcher. Biden and his...
Wow.
I don't think I ever...
they give us is just...
I don't know if I ever really thought about it before, but I guess you do need to fuel.
No, you don't want that thing sitting there.
Yeah, it's a good target.
Especially,
Biden and his aides have prepared contingencies should Pyongyang launch a long-range missile or conduct a seventh underground nuclear test. As U.S. officials have warned, American officials have briefed their allies on the various possibilities, and should a test proceed, Biden and his South Korean counterpart have made plans for how they would jointly demonstrate a show of resolve. Quote, we know what we will do to respond to them. We have communicated with not just our allies, but also with China. And this could cause the United States really to increase our fortitude in terms of defending our allies and cause adjustments to the way our military is postured in the region. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan told reporters aboard Air Force One as Biden made his way to Asia. Now, we've explored the idea that North Korea, as it is sort of narrated to us, might not be the whole truth and nothing but the truth, meaning that it's sort of a rogue state that is allied with China, and they're wild. We'll never know what they're doing. In fact, there's a lot of evidence to sort of point to the fact that the CIA does indeed know what's going on in North Korea, and coincidences seem to happen that are beneficial to the agenda of the president.
Yes.
And one of these things, we know that we're just itching for a reason to purchase Taiwan, or I say that in a colloquial fashion. Others might say protect Taiwan or give them weapons or whatever under threat of China. And what would be more beneficial to the agenda of the American empire and its desire to lock down Taiwan for its semiconductor industry? Taiwan, the little island, supplies 50% of the world's semiconductors, and Biden visits a semiconductor facility in South Korea during a possible missile test and said, if you launch the missile, then we're going to move all of our military into the region. This would be incredibly beneficial for the long-term plan that we identified in regards to Taiwan and Ukraine, where Ukraine, is useful for lots of reasons, both militarily, strategically, as up against Russia, but also has a lot of resources that we would just love to get our grubby little hands on. And the same goes for Taiwan, and is similarly positioned right next to China. Excellent sort of strategic position. And we're just begging for a reason to get more involved in Taiwan without provoking China. And the perfect way to do that would be to manufacture a provocation from North Korea, an alleged ally of China. And that would start it off. Then, he said himself, hey, I want to be here. I want a bigger, presence. I can look to the east and the west. I got two eyes. And I think this is going to happen sooner than later. I think I think you're right. I think we're going to move in any day now. Yeah. Well, very interesting. And you need the reasons. It's just so obvious at this point that you got to have the things happening in the background to allow the president to do certain things. And so, set the stage. It'd be perfect. President Biden go in there, do his thing. The president, little missile test. USA. A missile test with the president in range is enough of a provocation to mount a full-scale involvement in the East, mainly Taiwan. I'm waiting for when the UFOs stop the nuke, and then Biden speaks through, or he's becomes a speaker for these aliens. He's like glowing and hovering. That's what I'm waiting for. An interdimensional ambassador. Yeah, just the Biden's. He's gets lifted to become some kind of prophet. Sure. Well, the rest of the article goes on about him sharing his economic plans, which just reinforce the whole theory that I just gave you. Right. Okay. So speaking of these individuals being put on a pedestal here.
You are already sort of a cybernetic symbiote. Neural nets are taking over from regular programming. So you are connected. Paywalls. We did forget to mention, there was one more story from CNN. There was a headline, just so we're keeping up with it. There's more to deconstruct and analyze. We'll do that on Monday. But the headline, Senate passes bill to improve access to baby formula for families in need. Biden claiming to be taking action. He invoked look at that. Taking action in the West. Taking action in the arriving in the East. Sure. He invoked the Defense Production Act in order to boost baby formula manufacturing, and in an operation called Operation Fly Formula, which Fly Formula is sort of I don't. It's just so Biden is the Lord of the Flies. Lord of the Flies, the Fly Formula, where they are going to be using military transport planes to bring in formula from other countries to try to ease the burden. But Operation Fly Formula, this is sort of a Cronenbergian, strange way to put it. But okay. But the Biden administration has never been that good on PR and naming things. I mean, come on. Operation Warp Speed? Oh, that's a winner. Space Operation Force, Warp Speed. Formula. Trump just leaned into the sci-fi terminology. Biden, that's all Biden has to do. He just lean in. It worked. Just go. I mean, Dark Lord. Do Biden, like Doctor Strange, just embrace the dark. Everything he does starts turning into, Operation Multiverse of Madness. Yeah. I mean, the Biden administration named it the Disinformation Governance Board. Well, I guess, I think they do it to themselves. Bureaucratically sort of upsetting name for the Ministry of Truth. Yeah, but Trump would have just called it the Ministry of Truth and everybody would have been stoked. All right, that's enough. There's a little update. We'll give you more on Monday. Okay, I am running into a paywall problem here with this Forbes article. Forbes. Let me see what I can do here. And it's for some reason my little archiver. Man, I'm having issues today. Yeah, I don't know, man. Well, that is weird that my setup is letting me in. Uh-oh.
Nope. Yep. Still in. Okay. Here we go.
All right.
This is coming from Forbes.com. Elon Musk bites the hand that fed him by bashing California and Democrats.
There's a lot of things happening on the Elon front.
Yeah. Oopsies. Here it goes. In the weeks since Tesla CEO Elon Musk began his gambit to acquire Twitter, he's grown comfortable voicing partisan political views, usually on the social media platform he covets. Okay. You mean the one he's purchasing? Including insults aimed at California, President Joe Biden, and the libs. Musk now plans to vote Republican, he says, joining a party that derided him in the past as a crony capitalist who benefited from Democratic policies, but now sees him as an ally.
By the way, just real briefly, the fervor, or at least maybe it's died down a little bit, but for a few weeks there, the Republican Party was having a party. Taking on the red team.
Well, it's, he's just saying it's a free
he's a Mars guy, so he's got to go red, right? He can't go blue. Come on, red pill. This is the whole thing.
I do want to point out, and this is something that the media is not doing a great job of doing. Mm-hmm. He says he's going to vote Republican.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Voting Republican does not mean that you join the party.
Right.
And they're sort of talking about both as if they are synonymous with one another.
Well, which is so powerful. He's the world's richest man. Gotta put him in the right context.
It doesn't change anything. It's erroneous to say that if you vote Republican, you're joining the Republican Party. A Democrat can vote Republican and still be in the Democratic Party.
Anything negative, the mainstream is going to paint as... Or at least right now, they're trying to tie Republican to all kinds of stuff that's not Republican.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yes, it's like a very blurred thing. But
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. They're doing the same thing that they did with Great Replacement Theory, which is tie the Great Replacement Theory to established mainstream Republicanism,
right?
In a very highly effective and widespread corporate news campaign. Took 24 hours, and now everybody's convinced of it.
Right.
They're doing the same thing with Musk. He's voting Republican, so therefore he is Republican. It's the same strategy.
I'm just playing the other side with the whole take there, with the liberal kind of thinking of, well, he's not like officially a guy, but he's rich. He's so rich.
Yeah.
So he might as well be the guy.
Well, the left is they are losing their grip on the billionaires is the problem.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's flowing. That I've been thinking a lot about that recently. This whole kind of shift, the Great Reset, the move from Web 2 to Web 3. Web 2 is dominated by left, liberal, whatever. Web 3 might be dominated, quote unquote, by conservative, right sort of thinking. And there's good parts to that, but there's also some downside to that too. If you're going to be honest about implementing into some kind of technology-based world, how the internet works and that kind of thing. So, I don't know. I don't want to go off on a tangent too far, but it's been on my mind a lot.
Sorry, I looked at something else. I think I may have missed the...
No, it's okay.
The crux there.
People listening got it, but you got
somebody email me. Give me a rundown of what he just said.
We're operating on multiple levels here.
So I was going to skip down and read the tweet there, just so we have some context.
Which one? I'm not in the article. I only have a screenshot of the headline. So,
okay, then I'll take it. I don't know if you had anything particular you wanted to point out here, but they kind of chronicle Elon Musk's drift to the right, moving his headquarters to Texas and doing this and that. It's all quite boring. But here's the tweet. It says, In the past, I voted Democrat because they were, in parenthetical, mostly, the kindness party, he tweeted Wednesday after Tesla was dropped from the S&P's ESG index. Quote,
Oh, that's
right. But they have become the party of division and hate, so I can no longer support them and will vote Republican. So that's what he said. And that does bring up another big piece of news, which was Tesla got dropped from the S&P's ESG index, which, again, was being misrepresented in a lot of articles, meaning he was dropped from the stock exchange altogether.
which is not how any of that works, but the S&P's ESG index, which is kind of the gatekeeping financial grouping for the Great Reset. You got to make it into the ESG index to be available for all the big ESG investment. California bashing from naturalized American Musk.
Before we move on, that tweet, by the way, from Elon Musk, this is what it said. Exxon is rated top 10 best in world for environment, social, and governance, ESG, by S&P 500, while Tesla didn't make the list. ESG is a scam. It has been weaponized by phony social justice warrior. Yeah, so
sounds like he's been listening to the show.
It's crazy. But these it does feel like a little bit of a hijack of this sentiment. He's doing what Trump did and
exactly
gobbling up a sentiment and running off of it. And
remember what we said about Bezos in his fight with Biden was that the billionaires have significantly better data than the government does. The government relies on all these think tanks that are filled with corrupt lizard people. They're dependent on these telephone polls by these old sort of legacy polling companies. And we've seen how ever since 2016, the Washington polling apparatus has pretty much led all of Washington astray. Well, now coming up on 7 years almost. Starting with, of course, all the polls that said, 90% sure that Hillary's going to win or whatever. But these billionaires, the point being that they have access to data just by means of purchasing it and not having, sort of public interest problems with purchasing data. Whereas if the government sort of like went and purchased data, they'd just get hammered by, I don't know, just Rand Paul or something. These billionaires, and this is how they stay in power, is they read, I was going to say they read the tea leaves, but they don't. They have the data. They buy the data. And we've seen both Bezos and both Bezos and Elon move with the public sentiment. And that's what they do.
Who started the trend is Trump in the last decade. He started this movement of capturing this sentiment and not just profiting.
It's true. What is the word? Oh, no. What is the word? The word... it was so demonized during the Trump era, the word where a politician just does whatever the people want. No, I can't believe it's gone.
Help us,
chat. Help me out, chat. Help me out, chat. Well, anyways, I cannot believe that I forgot the word. The word is means that they populist. Thank you, man. Populist is Adam 42 gets a prize. Populist. This idea of populism being a bad thing cropped up during the Trump administration because it's easier than ever to become a true populist because all you got to do is buy all the data, look at the data, and just do whatever the data says. What the data says is what the majority of people want. And Elon, Bezos, Trump before them, it's an incredible way to position yourself as a politician. However, it does have sort of a dystopian technocratic sort of horror that fills me when I consider that it's that easy. But obviously that's what Elon's doing as well. And I'll finish up real quick. This one kind of ties the whole idea together. The billionaire's confirmation that he would invite former President Donald Trump back to Twitter after his ban for comments supporting the January 6th insurrection and lies about the 2020 election was cheered by some conservatives. Likewise, Musk's intention to make the platform welcoming for controversial views in pursuit of an absolutist view of free speech, which is not true, but okay, has boosted his popularity among outspoken politicians and commentators, including Representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz and Fox News's Tucker Carlson.
You mean bad people? White supremacists is what Forbes is saying.
The trifecta of Republican demons.
Support Elon. So he's a bad man.
He's gone to the dark side.
Yeah, so it's in full swing. Is the long story short here. Elon is Republican, just like the Great Replacement Theory is in full swing.
Then the ultimate proof is this story here from Business Insider.
Indeed, the big news of the day.
News of the day. Headline.
2 days, by the way, 2 days after he said he will vote Republican.
A SpaceX flight attendant said Elon Musk exposed himself and propositioned her for sex, documents show.
Of course, now that he's going to vote Republican, now the sex scandal comes out.
The company paid $250,000 for her silence. Well, then how are we hearing about it then?
Well, it's really interesting, actually. This is a fascinating. I hope we can just jam through this. Do you want to just jam through it?
It's pretty long.
I kind of have an idea of where we can jump around to get the details.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
You mind?
Yeah,
I don't want to take over the show, but
it gets pretty graphic in there too. So just
I'm gonna and I trust myself to censor the graphicness. I do not trust you, Gonz.
Okay, all right.
SpaceX, the aerospace firm founded by Elon Musk, the world's wealthiest man, paid a flight attendant $250,000 to settle a sexual misconduct claim against Musk in 2018, Insider has learned. The attendant worked as a member of the cabin crew on a contract basis for SpaceX's corporate jet fleet, which was a clarifying factor indeed, because when I read SpaceX flight attendant, I thought, wow, they have flight attendants on the rockets?
Right, yeah.
This is great. She accused Musk of exposing himself to her, rubbing her leg without consent. You can notice the pauses, folks, as I run the algorithms on keeping the show family friendly, and offering to buy her a horse in exchange for erotic massage, according to interviews and documents obtained by the Insider, which is already
documents.
Oh, you're going to love the documents. But offering to buy her a horse is such a hilarious detail. Now, let me be clear. Sexual harassment or assault or whatever is not funny. It's not funny. It's horrible. And it's an aspect of the fallen nature of man that is so difficult to comprehend in the frequency and horrific depth of which it takes place.
Yes. Yeah,
but you consider the fact that this is Elon Musk offering to buy a horse for a woman during a massage is there's something so quintessential about that. That I could not let it pass. The incident, which took place in 2016, is alleged in a declaration signed by a friend of the attendant and prepared in support of her claim. So a friend making the declaration. The details in this story are drawn from the declaration as well as other documents, including email correspondences and other records shared with Insider by the friend.
Okay, so let me clarify. Is the friend the one who is issuing it, or is the friend just signed off on the attendant's prepared documents?
Right. And you only learn this later, way later in the article.
Okay.
The friend is the one bringing this to the attention of the world.
Right. To the media, yes.
To the media. The woman who allegedly was propositioned by Musk is not the one doing it.
She's under NDA, correct?
She is under NDA, but that did not stop Stormy Daniels.
That's true.
So the friend who got the $250,000 is not even a part of this. This is all the victim.
Yes,
is not the one coming out with all this.
The story.
The friend is the one doing all of it. According to the declaration, the attendant confided to the friend that after taking the flight attendant job, she was encouraged to get licensed as a masseuse so that she could give Musk massages. It was during one such massage in a private cabin on Musk's Gulfstream G650ER, she told the friend that Musk propositioned her. Now, this paragraph, it comes with it's got some like weird sort of sickening details in there. Again, that they do not clarify until later on in the article. Now, apparently so SpaceX, part of their sort of business model is they had masseuses for everybody to like keep everybody, it's Silicon Valley. You got ping pong tables, you got masseuses, you got free Cheez-Its
big screen
and the
TV
snack
and bean bags to sit on while you code.
To sit on. Yeah, exactly. This is kind of general. It's actually not that weird that SpaceX employed a lot of masseuses. And let's see here. When they said that after she took the flight attendant job, she was encouraged to get licensed as a masseuse so that she could give. No, by management.
Okay.
Of SpaceX encouraged her to get licensed as a masseuse so she could give massages on the plane.
Right.
Again, you have to sort of assume that they're not specifically for the purpose of sexual gratification.
It's part of the thing that
part of the
cultural part
the
of
incentives.
the you dropped
conversation to be had about that. But so, management said, hey, you could basically there was an established pay raise that you get if you are also a masseuse. So they wouldn't have to pay for a separate masseuse to be on the planes.
Right.
It's just sort of company policy. I'm not saying it isn't weird, but I'm just saying it's kind of introduced in a weird way. After Insider contacted Musk for comment, he emailed to ask for more time to respond and said that there is a lot more to this story. Quote, if I were inclined to engage in sexual harassment, this is unlikely to be the first time in my entire 30-year career that it comes to light, he wrote, calling the story a politically motivated hit piece. Insider extended the deadline and reiterated the offer to Musk to comment on the claims. He did not respond. Reached via cell phone, SpaceX Vice President of Legal, Christopher Cardacci, said, quote, I'm not going to comment on any settlement agreements. SpaceX did not respond to request for comment to its general media contact email address. The flight attendant told her friend that the billionaire SpaceX and Tesla founder asked her to come to his room during a flight in late 2016 for a full-body massage. The declaration says, again, the friend's declaration. When she arrived, the attendant found that Musk, quote, was completely naked except for a sheet covering the lower half of his body. Which, written in an article, sounds pretty salacious, but for those who are in the masseuser industry, that's a pretty normal thing to do. Most massages are done that way. During the massage, the declaration says Musk exposed himself and then offered to buy her a horse if she would do more. Then it says here, referring to the performance of sex acts. The attendant, who rides horses, declined and continued with the massage without engaging in any sexual conduct. I think it's kind of weird detail that they just said,
why would they? Yeah, that's
weird, right? I mean, it's like, oh, she loves horses. She rides horses. And
she was exploited. Her love of horses was exploited.
That's exactly
Elon.
What's being communicated. Like, oh, Musk,
do you love horses? You do? Oh, just like that.
Well, I'll give you a horse.
Can you imagine if somebody exploited you for your love of horses? That's what Elon did here.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway. So there's sort of like a power dynamic issue, which there is. There definitely is.
Yeah.
In an interview with Insider, the friends described the attendant's allegations in more detail. She spoke on the condition of anonymity, citing fears for her personal safety, but Insider is aware of her identity. Insider is also aware of the flight attendant's identity, but it is not naming her because she has claimed to be a victim of sexual misconduct. She hasn't claimed. Her friend has claimed it, but okay. She declined to comment for this story. Quote, and I'm going to stop there because it gets a little wild.
Yep.
Where is there was a part of this. So first of all, tell me what you think about that while I find this other segment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You've been pointing out some of the more important parts, but yeah, this is
as we go.
Obviously, this is not in defense of Elon if he had anything to do with this type of activity. Number one, it wouldn't surprise me, but also if he paid them off or whatever, does it even matter at this point? I think the takeaway at this point in time is that this came out as the hit piece for Elon because he's
2 days after
saying he's going to vote Republican and really going in hard on ESG is evil and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And
which is an attack on the Great Reset, by the way. Saying ESG is BS is not just lashing out at the S&P. That is a direct attack. You have the richest man in the world tweeting a direct attack against the Great Reset, Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum. Of course there was going to be lashback against that.
Right. And so the details don't, I mean, they matter, but they don't, you know what I mean? Like, they like by itself, this thing matters in terms of Elon's behavior, if it is true, but at the same time, is it even true? Like, we can't really, the takeaway is we can't tell if it's true. And with the timing of everything, it's hard to believe any of it. You know what I mean? But again, this isn't in defense of Elon or defense of
it is not in the defense of Elon. Let's be clear. It is not in defense of Elon, and it's not even directly in an attack of the friend. Okay, it's not. Again, it's not the story. It's the mainstream corporate media strategy.
Yeah.
It's the bigger play that's going on here, and because on one side, billionaire getting massage asks for a little more in his private jet. Yeah, it's gross, but it's not surprising. Like there's. It's unfortunate and it's sick and it's fallen and it sucks that it's not uncommon and that it's not surprising. But the fact that the friend, not the actual person, the friend just
who remains anonymous, by the way,
who remains anonymous, just happens to have signed a declaration and come out and started talking about this 2 days after he said he was going to vote Republican and trash talked the World Economic Forum, et cetera, is too much coincidence, I guess.
So what's there was something you said about the friend. What do they tell us here in this article?
Yeah, I know. I was looking for it. There was this paragraph that they snuck in there about the friend. It was more or less. Okay, here we go. Here's a part of it. Non-disclosure agreements are crucial components of. Okay, so it breaks down the problem with non-disclosure agreements. And this movement, and there was a law or two passed back during the Stormy Daniels thing, where especially in California, they outlawed non-disclosure agreements when it comes to sexual misconduct. And this actually happened 2 months after Elon, after this event allegedly happened. And so there's kind of this this close call feeling to it that they are trying to kind of communicate or at least install in the operating system of the reader that, if this only happened 2 months later, then we would have known how horrible Elon was long ago. And they do it in a pretty good job of breaking down how the infrastructure, the system that allows for continued abuse by basically rich guys to pay off people that they harass, which does not exist anymore in California. But it's all about, this is power dynamic. He's rich, you pay him off, NBA, etc.
If you kind of look at the string of our stories here in context, it's like Elon was sort of a darling of the left, and the whole part of the point of the Forbes article, we kind of got sidetracked from it, but part of the point was, the Democrats, it's the Democrats in California that made Tesla successful. It wasn't just Elon. The Democrats are to thank, and so and in that is this culture, the Silicon Valley culture. Of the kind of stuff that's now coming out as like, look at Elon's a bad person because he asked for a massage, when that's sort of built into that side of the aisle, so to speak, I guess.
That's exactly the point. Yeah. I mean, it's the massage thing. And the problem is, like, the massage thing even harkens to Epstein. You know, a lot of the Epstein stuff was done in the context of massage, so it's very inflammatory. And it's just built into the elite structure. I mean, that's just what it is. And it's really weird, and it's no surprise that Elon would take part in that in whatever way he did, if the allegations are true. I mean, he paid the woman. The payoff specifically with the NDA was to not be sued and to not talk about Elon or SpaceX or anything. But the friend comes out, has a kind of a long set of quotes that just,
she's looking out for her. She's looking out for the victim. Doesn't it say that she put it in jeopardy, like some of the...
Yeah, so here's the quote. Quote, if there were any way for her to come forward without putting herself at risk, without jeopardizing her life in any way, I believe she would, the friend of the attendant told Insider. So she's not even saying, like, the friend asked me to do this or whatever. It almost sounds like the friend is doing this without the victim's
consent.
Consent.
Yeah.
That's the weirdest part, because it doesn't even sound like she's talked to the victim about it. If there were a way for her to come forward without putting herself at risk, without jeopardizing her life in any way, I believe she would, the friend of the attendant told Insider.
So let me put you in risk and danger by telling the whole world about what happened.
Exactly.
That makes no sense.
She is the one putting the victim at risk by doing this. The quote continues, I hope she feels like I did the right thing. Okay, she obviously did not have the consent of the victim to do this. I hope she feels I said the things that she didn't feel safe enough to say. I hope, she says.
Wow.
It's just strange, man.
Yeah, it's weird.
And the article ends with, the friend told Insider that if anyone else was mistreated by Musk, she hopes they will publicly tell their story. If there are other victims, she said, quote, I would like for them to come forward. I would like for the truth to be revealed. Okay, or what? Or you want, they might not do it, but do you want their friends to do it for them? Like, it's just so weird. The whole thing is so weird, with the friend basically seemingly doing this in some sort of, social justice warrior capacity without the permission of the victim. We saw this. Who else was? I forget. And there's an Epstein example of this, where the problem was when it was the friend doing it, coming out and telling the story. There was sort of no legal recourse, and it just kind of only serves as a news story. And I think that's the problem.
Right.
There's nobody can sue here. Nobody can, go after Elon in a legal way. It is only and principally a news story for news sake, for the sabotage.
Political purposes.
Exactly. So anyways, that's way too much talking about that, but there you go. You had something about the ESG thing, right? Or
we covered it.
The ESG is a scam. It has been weaponized by phony social justice warriors.
Elon saying that is a, again, as I mentioned earlier, feels like hijacking a sentiment. So
right. And along with that, the S&P, ESG index specifically cited these types of misconduct claims as the reason for dropping him from the ESG index.
Boy.
It's all tied together, folks. But luckily, there's no ESG here. ESG? No way, Jose. It's all about the value for value.
It's break time!
Come on, take a break. That's right. We're going to take a quick break. So take a breather. Everybody take a couple of big, deep breaths. We got to relax, and we got to hear about the value for value model. You may notice no advertisements, affiliate codes, no partnerships with any platforms, no corporate money whatsoever. That's because with corporate money comes corporate incentives or corporate agendas or corporate standards. And this show has no corporate standards. That's obvious, folks. They wouldn't let us anywhere near a television station, and that's okay. We're on the value for value model, which means we create value 3 times a week, and we try to even do it more than that. And if you get any value out of what we do, the community, the message, the deconstruction, the analysis, or if you're hearing things for the first time, whatever the case may be, whatever value this show brings to you, you have the opportunity or the responsibility to come on board the value for value model and put value back in, because it's the only way that it works. And it's uncomfortable to sort of present ourselves 3 times a week as a program that would not survive unless the listeners turn into producers, meaning that they support the show in one of 3 ways: with their time, their talent, or their treasure. And the fact of the matter is that it's true. Because if we did not have the support of listeners like you, we would not exist. And if the support stopped, we would not last very long. And it is an unstable way to do it. It is uncomfortable asking for the support of people every single show. But it is revolutionary in that you get to decide the value of the show. You do not have some corporate lizard overlord combing through the show, making sure we're brand friendly, which is just another word for controlling the message, and putting a price on what we bring to the world. It is entirely up to the people who receive value from the show to put value back in. And that's why we like to thank them here. We call them producers, because that's exactly what they are. If you pay to have a piece of media produced, you are a producer. And you can do it in all sorts of ways. I think I mentioned your time, your talent, or your treasure. But we're going to thank some of our treasure producers right now. If you want to become a producer, it's not too late. You can head on over to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk, or even better, CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
And we're going to start out with thanking our executive producers, starting with executive producer Maureen.
Executive producers.
Oh, yeah. Jingle?
Oh, yeah, there you go. Here's our executive producers. They're the ones who are carrying the load, baby. And they come in with nice, generous amounts, which saves our butts so very often. Yeah. All right. Now we thank executive producer Maureen M.
Thank you, Maureen M. Appreciate it.
Yes. And Maureen M sends a note here that says, thank you for your excellence in exposing deception and reporting on news essential during these days. Prayers for all to boldly speak and share the truth. Most of all, thank you, Jesus. Love yez. Please just play your favorite jingle for me.
What's your favorite jingle, Basil?
Do you have the stall jingle hanging around? I believe the file name is Distraction.
Yes. I do have it somewhere.
It's the
had
confidence.
It ready.
The confidence is
okay, hold on.
Is overwhelming.
I have my finger on a button, so I'm going to let go of the button. And this is for Maureen M. Thank you. Little bells and executive producer.
Where'd you find this?
And what is it called?
Distraction, I believe.
Distraction.
I think is the file name. I have it. By the way, while Gonz looks for that, I will give everybody an update. I'm so close to having my own soundboard ready so I can help Gonz. This is one of them that I have on the very front of my soundboard. And Gonz will tell you, I spent about 35 to 40 minutes today trying to route the audio. My entire setup is mostly an analog setup, meaning I've got about 100 wires sort of spaghettied around, routing sound from one channel to another, et cetera, et cetera. It's kind of an archaic way to do it, but I had it. This is how I set it up in 2016 when we first started the show, and I literally have not touched it since 2016. And I tried to get my jingle board working, and I completely destroyed the entire system this morning, which is why we had a late start. But one of these days, I'm going to have my own jingle board, and we are going to be so professional and timely with the jingles. It'll blow your mind.
I will be happy to hand over some of the jingle duties here.
Stall for 5 seconds.
There
you go.
There we go. I love that jingle so much. It slaps. Thank you very much, executive producer Maureen M. We got another executive producer, Gonz.
Yep.
That is executive producer Nicholas P.
Nicholas P. Thank you very much.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Executive producer Nicholas P. He's been producing on and off here recently, I believe. And Nicholas P. comes in with $133.33 plus fees.
Illuminatus!
That's right. Thank you so much, Nicholas P., for your generosity. And thank you to both of our executive producers.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
No note from Nicholas P.?
I did not see a note come in from Nicholas P. I could do a quick little double check because, it's always a shame to not get a note if they sent it. But, no, I'm not seeing a note.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Indeed.
Supply drop?
Supply drop. That's right. Go to CanaryCry.Supply.com, baby, where you can sign up to support the show for $33 a month. Not only are you participating in the value for value model, where you will receive value continually, but you will also receive 4 shipments a year. That's 1 shipment a quarter, chock-a-block full of custom created, often one-time manufactured Canary Cry News Talk treasures. That's what they are. They're treasures, folks. We don't sell merch. We're not in the retail business. We're in the value for value business. And if you show up over at CanaryCry.Supply.com, sign up. We would love to keep sending you value in the form of cool stuff. Now, I mentioned that we are having multiple supply drop promos running simultaneously right now because the cutoff for the second quarter supply drop is on the 31st. So that is 1 week, 2 week, 2 weeks. Wait, no, 1 week. How does week work?
What day?
1.5 weeks. 1.5 weeks from now is the cutoff. And we are planning some cool stuff. Do you have the video and the picture of the challenge coin?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yes.
Why don't you play that just so people can look at it? We're working on a challenge coin, folks. It's not easy, but we are stoked on it. If you don't know what a challenge coin is, look it up on Wikipedia. I read it last time, but it kind of will give an official vibe to Canarians who support the show with the supply drop. I mean, this is a signifier, a token of our appreciation, something you can show off if you go to meetups or whatever. It's going to have our beautiful seal on one side, and the other side is a secret. We're working on it now. Now, here's the problem. Supply chains are out of control right now.
Yes.
Prices.
I laugh, but it's sad.
It's sad. And prices on metals are out of control. So we, first of all, have a supply drop promo. If you sign up before the end of the month, you'll get to play the Canary Cry multi-dimensional communications codex ARG, which is you've been hearing the weird codes coming through randomly throughout the show. Those are being recorded and jotted down and deciphered, and there's a whole community of people playing a game right now alongside the podcast, and you can too. We would send it to you immediately, so you could hopefully play in the next episode or two if that's something you're interested in. But if we get so here's the other part. We set a goal, a stretch goal, that if we can get we did the math, 12 new supply droppers to sign up by the end of the month, we could be able to afford a copper challenge coin instead of a stainless steel challenge coin. And that is our goal. There is a little bit
of a complicating factor, and I just want to be transparent and vulnerable with you folks about this, which is we have a few supply droppers. Thank God, and I'm so excited. This brings us closer to our copper stretch goal. However, simultaneously, we do occasionally lose a supply dropper, which does technically put us back in the budgeting, and I'm not sure how to handle this, folks. So I don't know. We're going to need to do a production meeting. If any producers out there want to speak into this problem, because it's great that people join, but if people leave, then it does set us back a little bit on that stretch goal. So I'm just being honest about that. We're trying to figure it out, but we're making progress, and that's what matters, because we have a few supply droppers signing in now, and let's thank them, Gonz.
Yeah, let's do it.
We got a new supply dropper named Laura S.
Thank you very much, Laura S.
We also have a new supply dropper, Ivan L.
Ivan L. Thank you.
Ooh. And we have another supply dropper coming in on the Patreon, Kicking It Edwards.
Kicking It Edwards. All right. Sounds like a TV show or something.
Yeah, or like a cool ska band. So there you go. In theory, that would bring us already 1/4 of the way towards our stretch goal. So let's just say that. We'll just say that that's the case, and we'll figure out the math later on in the month, I think. Okay. But regardless, they are going to enjoy the second quarter shipment of producer-created, artist-designed, made in America, Canary Cry News Talk stuff. I'm excited about this one.
Waiting for supply drop.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, hello. We have a guest.
Who's the guest?
Our little daughter, Kaya.
Oh, good.
Little?
Yes, you're little. You're tiny.
Big.
Oh, you are? Okay, yeah, she's getting bigger.
It's a family show, folks.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm ready to thank some more people. Are you?
Yes, as much as I will be with a little distraction.
Yes.
Yes, take it.
Well, we've got a few. This is an interesting day because we had very few producers to read here. We've had some come in during the show that I'm going to attempt to read.
Okay.
In the order, they're not on our document, so I'm going to have to do it. I'm gonna be raw dogging it. But first, I'm starting with producer Morv. He's on a 93 episode streak.
Family friendly. What number? What number?
Streakalicious, man.
Oh, yeah!
Thank you so much.
11.
That's right. 93 episodes in a row. Thank you, Morv. Comes in with 1111 and a note that says, Happy Friday. Thank you, B&G, and producers for all that you do. Hope everyone has a great weekend. God bless.
Thank you very much.
God bless you, Morv. Thank you very much.
Okay,
so before the show, that was literally the one and only producer besides the executives and the supply droppers.
Oh man, inflation, man, Putin's price hike or whatever.
Putin's price hike,
man, really hitting us hard today.
Is the one producer that came in over the 777 amount, but we have a few that came in during the show. I'm going to try to get it all right.
Okay,
and I hope I don't mess anything up.
All right.
So here we go.
I will add it into the doc if you would like me to as we go.
Okay. Yes, if you could, please.
Yeah,
starting with Malik W.
Malik W. Thank you.
Malik W is back. Thank you very much, Malik. Comes in with a nice round number, so we don't read the number on the nice round numbers.
Okay.
The streaks are going to be the hard part here.
Yeah.
We have Sir JC, Night of the Techno Squatch, coming in.
JC.
And, of course, Sir JC comes in with the 1001.
1001.
1001. Amen.
And it's funny. He is definitely on a streak, but I told you about the our issue with we had a document problem emergency yesterday. Here it is, 105 episodes in a row for Sir JC.
much.
And he has a note that says, if I upgrade my 2022 calendar producership to 3033, will that be considered an additional supply drop participant? Also, can we expect emu burgers if the 2023 supply drops? Quite possibly, JC, quite possibly. It depends if these little guys keep pecking at my face and shirt buttons.
Canary Cry emu burgers.
Yeah,
I like it.
I could always hatch some more. I could hatch some more emus.
Hey.
See, that's the thing. The birds, they're regenerative sources of energy.
They are.
In the past, we have counted that, Sir JC. We have counted the upgraded from the grandfathered in calendar producership of 2022. So yeah, I'll count that. If calendar producers upgrade to the 3333, I will count that. Thank you, Sir JC. Look at him thinking through. Next up, we've got producer James M.
Thank you, James M. I think he's returning too, right?
He is returning. He comes in with a pocket full of 7s plus fees, and he is on a 2-episode streak.
Simple enough.
I hope and believe that is correct. Thank you very much, James M. Next up, we've got LX Protocol V2, the producer bot.
Protocol V2. Thank you.
And he certainly is on a streak, and I'll tell you just how much. 34 episodes in a row.
Okay. Thank you very much, LX Protocol V2.
7 plus fees, and a note here. Keep doing the Lord's work. Is it possible to get a Wednesday jingle on Friday? Or would that disrupt the Canaryverse? It would disrupt the Canaryverse, but we ain't afraid.
I'll play.
Let's do it.
Let's play one.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Yeah.
Wednesday, my dudes.
That's right. Consider the Canaryverse disrupted, but we ain't scared of it around here. We know how to handle a little chaos. Thank you, LX Protocol V2, for your continued support.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we have M and Bobby C.
M and Bobby C.
M and Bobby C.
M.
Also come in with a pocket full of 7s plus fees. And let's see here. Are they on a streak? Was that last episode that they produced?
Don't remember.
Ooh, see, this is why it's difficult, folks, when you come and produce the show.
We might consider a cutoff time to do this.
We have talked about it.
Yeah.
We have talked about an official cutoff time.
And maybe the show starting, or maybe like noon that day or something.
I mean, that's an okay cutoff time. If the show has started, then we won't read it. But we'll give you that warning now, folks. Please, before the show starts. Here is a note from M and Bobby C. Hey, friends, it's Friday, and God is still in control. Now that deserves a hallelujah and amen.
Hallelujah.
Amen. Amen. Thank you very much, M and Bobby C.
M and Bobby C.
We have a Patreon producer that just came in.
All right.
And their name is Philip P.
Philip P. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, he came in under the pocket full of 7s, but I'll just read him now. Thank you very much, Philip P.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Who is this? This is... I don't recognize this person. Okay, well, we will call them Lillian M.
Lillian M.
Thank you very much, producer Lillian M. Coming in with a nice round number above 777.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Now I got to jump over, see if anybody sent any notes. We don't want to miss any notes.
This is majority, huh? Coming in.
Yes, there was more producers that came in after the show started than did before. But that's okay. That's kind of why we keep it open, because it would have been very sad if it was just more.
Sure.
But, that's what happens. Okay. Yeah. I think that's it. That concludes our list of financial producers who came in the amount of 777 or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. But we got some producers who came in under that cutoff, and we're going to thank them now, starting with producer Sir Scott, Knight of Truth.
Thank Thank you, Sir Scott.
Right, he's on a 148 episode streak.
Yes, they call him the street. Fastest thing on 2 feet.
Next up, we got Sir Casey the Shield Knight on a 158 episode streak.
Proto streak.
Whoa.
Fastest thing on 2 feet.
Next up, we got the Streak Sisters. Today, I'm doing Gail M first on a 123 episode streak.
Gail M.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next in line is the other Streak Sister, of course, Veronica D on a 123 episode streak.
They're coming up on becoming the streak, by the way. They're 10 away.
They're getting there.
Yeah.
They're getting there.
Pretty crazy.
Next up, we got Jackie Yu with 63 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Jackie Yu. It's, we have 63, yes.
Next up, we got Runk Smash on a 4-episode streak, and I would like to make a request.
Okay.
Can we play Streakalicious for Runk Smash?
Streakalicious. This is the new thing you told me to have ready, and I don't have ready. No, I do have ready.
Oh yeah, Streakalicious.
Yeah,
okay.
you know,
what is what's the occasion? Why does he get the special jingle?
Well, you know, Runk Smash, he's kind of a funky guy. He's always sort of purposefully resetting his streak because he's a unique, eccentric billionaire. And, you know, we had a conversation before the show, a little behind the curtain for everybody, where we're hoping now we're going to be paying more attention to integrating new jingles and stuff from the jingle producers, because sometimes when somebody creates something for the show, it takes a long time before it kind of makes it into the show. We're going to be a little bit more intentional about that. And Streakalicious is one that I wanted to use, and Runk Smash just seemed like the right victim for it. So
there's a Streak Setter jingle too.
There is.
Do you want to hear it?
And so that's another one. Yeah, sure. Yeah. See? Come on. We got all sorts of fun stuff we got to keep playing. So, and that goes for the mixtape too.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so
we got more.
Smash is on a 4-episode streak.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you, Runk Smash.
Yeah, Streakalicious. Next up, we got David J coming in.
Thank you, David J.
Thank you very much, David J. And last but not least, we got Sir James, Knight and Servant of the Lion of Judah on a 90-episode streak.
Thank you, Sir James.
Now, I noticed you didn't write down the streaks of everybody while we were doing that. Because I'm going to need to see those for next episode.
Pressing buttons.
You got buttons to press, I know. All right, that concludes our list of financial producers. Thank you, everybody, so much for making this show possible. We cannot do it without you. And that continues to be the truth into the future. Thank you for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money.
Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your patronage.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message.
Beep. Message. Go to CanaryCry.Newstalk.com. You'll see a green tab on the bottom or the right-hand side. Click on that. Another button will appear. You can click on that button, and you can leave us a message. You're giving us permission to play this message, but it's not guaranteed. Do we have any messages, Gonz?
Yeah, we have one from Rochelle today.
Oh. Happy Friday. Revelation 1:6. He has made us a kingdom of priests for God his Father. All glory and power to him forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Let's act like it, people. Light up my life. Strip me of strife. God is my guide. My demons will hide. His blood has saved me. Broken, bruised on a tree. The perfect Son came down. Now he has earned his crown. Light up my life, make me your wife. For us you have died, perfection abide. His blood was the key, for him I live on my knee. The remnant hears the sound, they put on their white gown. Light up my life, sometimes the truth is a knife. As our worlds collide, bury my pride. You've made the blind see, what will be, will be. To the future I'm bound, my soul has been found. Light of my life.
There it is.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Rochelle.
Appreciate that.
Did Rochelle somehow hack the voice messaging system to do such a wonderful job of fitting an entire song in there?
I don't know, but it was exactly a minute 30.
Wow, she nailed it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Rochelle.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other ones?
That's it. That's all we got.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's check out some reviews real quick.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, okay.
That's the thing, folks. Got a few reviews to read here because we did it, Gonz. We did it. We got 5 or more reviews this week, and that means that so many more people are going to find the show because of the robots, man, using those algorithms to spread the truth. Woo! But on top of that, you've made me so very happy, everybody, and that means I'm going to go ooh. Yay! That's right. I got a couple here to read for you, Gonz. Are you ready?
Yes.
This first one, you'll be interested to know, is from a user named eMusk33.
Oh.
So he did it. Elon left us a review. See? Thanks, Elon, from the United States. 5 stars. Great podcast, he says. Awesome. They are so kickback. Love the way they break down the current events. It's nice to hear the news with a positive spin. Be careful. You might not see the world the way the lizard people want you to see it. Listen and get informed on the stories behind the story. Thanks for opening my eyes. Oh, you're welcome, eMusk33.
Elon Musk 33.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We don't know if it's Elon Musk, but it is eMusk.
Okay.
It could be Elliot Musk 33.
Yeah,
Next up, we got one from I don't even know how to say this. Aculin.
It must be from another country because it's
nope, this is from the United States of America, baby. 5 stars. Best
this is
news
Katie,
construction
Aculin
podcast. Why are you screaming over me? Why are you screaming? Stop screaming. I said what I said. Okay. I've got it.
All right.
And I said it, and I'm moving on.
Okay.
It's Aculin. United States of America. 5 stars. Best news deconstruction podcast. This podcast is awesome. Gonz and Basil do an amazing job of deconstructing the news through a biblical lens. They incorporate so much fun and humor in these podcasts. They help you understand what the news is actually saying, if it is using misdirection, and even break down how the news uses twisted wording, insinuation for social engineering. They also do updates, news on fringe topics. It's wonderful. I love them and their ministry. And also love my Canary Cry family. Come on in and join the family. Thank you very much. You. Aculin.
Katie, a.k.a. Kylan.
Uh-huh. Okay. Next up, we got Runk Smash's work mom.
Oh.
In the United States of America. Okay. Runk Smash getting his work mom in on the review. 5 stars. Runk Smash used my phone to leave this review. That's good. That's good. Thanks, Runk Smash. This show is so good, this large hairy man had to use my phone to leave a review. That's a good show. He says there's an amazing duo of talented news analysts who use their skills to deconstruct the news and point out the obvious disinformation, misinformation, and garbage, all from a Christian worldview. Also, there's a propaganda rooster. What other show has that? None. That's who.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is a great way to spread the show. Just ask your friend or your work mom if you could just use their phone real quick to leave a review. And they say no. And you say, please, it's really important to me. And they say, okay, what show? And you say, you wouldn't get it. They say, no, really, I really want to know. No, it's okay. It's weird. You wouldn't like it. They say, no, hey, if you want to leave a review on my phone, tell me what show it is. And you go, okay. Oh, see, it's a little bit of reverse psychiatry, folks.
Reverse psychiatry? Not psychology, reverse psychiatry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's drugs involved.
I was going to say, some pharmakia involved there.
And then, see, now they're interested. Boom. There you go. Thank you. Go leave. So I'll be reading a few more reviews later on in the show. Ratings and reviews are super important to us. We have no control over it. It is only something that you, the listeners, can do, and that is leave us 5 or more ratings or reviews every single week, which activates the algorithms, and a ton more people find the show every week when we can do that. And that's why I get so excited. But, if we don't do that, I'll let Gonz's grumpy uncle explain
ugly,
it.
horrible person. You must leave review on iTunes. And if you do not, you are ugly, horrible person. You bring shame to family. Ugly, horrible person.
Oh, no. Somebody was insinuating that if they leave a review, we would give them a horse. Okay.
No.
All right, there you go. Here's the thing, Gonz. We pretty much anything that's going to get us kicked off of YouTube, we've already said on this show. So you want to just go? You want to just run through it? Let the YouTubers stay where they are?
Let's do it. Yeah, they were very happy about us doing the full show on YouTube last time, and very interesting because,
don't get used to it because we're going to pull this one probably.
Yeah,
it's either we pull it or Susan pulls it. Let's do it. Let's wake on up.
Okay, wake up time. Wake up time.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
And we're gonna do a little. We don't have a Hunter Biden jingle, I don't think, but we got the hairy legs.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
The son of Hairy Legs. This is Hairy Legs Jr.
Yes.
Yeah.
And oh no, why do I keep running into problems today?
I don't know. What problem are you running into on NBC News?
Ad stuff. You
Ads.
support journalism with ad blockers? Turn off or not support.
NBC is shaming you for dodging their ads.
Yeah, it's all right. Okay, this is NBC News. The headline here. Analysis of Hunter Biden. I'm going to try it again. Analysis of Hunter Biden's hard drive shows his firm took about $11 million from 2013 to 2018. Spent it fast.
Ooh.
That's the headline there. And come on, website, cooperate with me here. It's trying to play a video, which I don't want.
He spent it as fast as he could snort it, I think.
From 2013 to 2018, Hunter Biden and his company brought in about $11 million via his roles as an attorney and a board member with a Ukrainian firm accused of bribery and his work with a Chinese businessman now accused of fraud, according to an NBC News analysis of a copy of Biden's hard drive and iCloud account and documents released by Republicans on 2 Senate committees.
Oh, released by Republicans.
Yeah, and imagine that. NBC News doing analysis of the copy of Biden's hard drive directly. What is this? Some actual journalism going on at NBC over here? What's
Can you
what's going on?
believe it?
The CERN really did turn on. The documents and the analysis, which don't show what he did to earn millions from his Chinese partners, raise questions about national security, business ethics, and potential legal exposure. In December 2020, Biden acknowledged in a statement that he was the subject of a federal investigation into his taxes. NBC News was first to report that an ex-business partner had warned Biden he should amend his tax return to disclose $400,000 in income from the Ukrainian firm Burisma. Was NBC News really the first people to report that? I don't know if they were that's
report. Well, I mean, it's a very interesting specific part of the report, which is he had a tax guy who told him not to do that.
Yeah.
His tax guy was trying to save him from this.
Yeah.
And he just didn't listen.
GOP congressional sources also say that if Republicans take back the House this fall, they'll demand more documents and probe whether any of the Biden's income went to his father, President Joe Biden. Quote, no government ethics rules apply to him, said Walter Schaub, a former director of the U.S. Office of Government Ethics, who is now an ethics expert with the Project of Government Oversight. Schaub added, however...
expert.
Yeah, I know.
That's a weird title.
Yeah.
I'm an expert on ethics.
It is strange how, in certain religions there are rabbis or there are shamans.
Yeah.
In the U.S. government, we have ethics experts.
Yeah, ethics expert is like a bureaucratic priesthood.
It is. It's you're dictating the moral quality of or an action, or it's assigning
or at least,
good or bad.
At least an expert in it.
At least an expert in knowing. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
well, that's weird. Quote. This is from Schaub. He added, however, quote, it's imperative that no one at DOJ and no one at the White House interfere with the criminal investigation in Delaware. Schaub had previously raised questions about Hunter Biden's new line of work, selling his own paintings, which created the potential to purchase a painting to buy perceived influence, and also because the White House became involved in the transactions, arranging that none of the buyers' names be known to Biden, the White House, or the public. Did the
keep it
White
completely
House
secret?
Did they just launder money through?
That's exactly the point. That's exactly the point.
Our U.S. government or our White House assisted in yes.
Why is this my birthday?
Oh, we got to get a microphone for that baby.
She's asking why there's a flat Earth dome on April 22nd.
Which is my birthday.
Why is there a flat Earth?
It's April 22nd. Not your birthday. It's Earth Day. It was Earth Day. Remember Earth Day?
Oh, it's the Canary Cry calendar.
She's looking at the Canary Cry calendar. Yes.
Oh, okay. Good. Raise them up in the way they should go. Gonz.
Frank Figliuzzi, the FBI's former assistant director for counterintelligence, said there's a national security risk when foreign powers like China see an opportunity to get close to someone like Biden. You think? Quote, it's all about access and influence, and if you can compromise someone with both access and influence, that's even better, said Figliuzzi, now an NBC News contributor. Quote, better still. Cool. Quote, better still if that target has already compromised himself, end quote. The documents and the analysis indicate that few of Biden's deals ever came to fruition and shed light on how fast he was spending his money. Expenditures compiled on his hard drive show he spent more than $200,000 per month from October 2017 through February 2018 on luxury hotel rooms, Porsche payments, dental work, and cash withdrawals. I wonder if dental work. Yeah, let's just get my teeth fixed while we're at it here.
Well, I mean, that's the funny part, because when you smoke crack, it messes up your teeth. And cash withdrawals is this code word for hookers and crack.
Mm-hmm. Biden has admitted to burning through cash to pay for drugs and partying with strangers who routinely stole from him, and he struggled to pay multiple mortgages to keep up with alimony and child support payments to his ex-wife. In his autobiography, Beautiful Things, he says the money from Burisma, quote, turned into a major enabler during my steepest skid into addiction, and, quote, hounded me to spend recklessly, dangerously, destructively, humiliatingly. So I did, end quote.
Oh, he's really leaning into this.
In a February 2017 divorce filing, an attorney for Biden's ex-wife said the couple's outstanding debt were, quote, shocking and overwhelming, and that they owed $313,000 in back taxes. 313, almost like the 33 is being split in half.
Split, ooh.
According to the filing, they had bounced checks to their housekeeper and owed money to doctors and therapists. My gosh, man, take care of business first before going on the weird. Okay, the filing alleged that Hunter Biden had spent copiously on drugs, strip clubs, prostitutes, and girlfriends, quote, while leaving the family with no money to pay legitimate bills.
You know what this is?
Yeah.
This is a very skillful and interesting flip to do here.
It is.
So now this makes sense why NBC is reporting, because everybody's going to report on this. But if you are devoted to sort of the democratic or just liberal ideological campaign in the corporate news media, you'll have to report on things like Hunter Biden's laptop. But if you paint him out to be such a pitiful victim of his own weakness, then it's strangely forgivable to the sort of liberal ideology, I think.
Yeah, I didn't hear half of what you said, but I think you're saying...
Just say yes. Excellent analysis.
Things. Yes.
Why don't you continue?
Yeah. I kind of skipped down here because there's a lot of stuff in here that it's kind of a longer article. I don't know how much you want to dig into it, but let's get into the Biden and China part. Biden made $5.8 million, more than half his total earnings from 2013 to 2018, from two deals with Chinese business interests.
Just to mention something that we have not mentioned before. This paragraph, before we skip down, a representative for Biden says all of his tax responsibilities to the IRS are now satisfied. Two sources familiar with the matter have confirmed to NBC News that Hollywood attorney Kevin Morris began advising Biden in 2020 and arranged to pay off the approximately $2 million Biden owed the IRS. So this Hollywood attorney, Kevin Morris, paid all of Biden's tax bills. And knowing how Hunter Biden does business, I wonder what Kevin Morris got out of it that was worth $2 million to him to bail out Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
Just as strange, they're part of maybe they're part of a strange club or something. But to have a Hollywood attorney come out and just basically give Hunter Biden $2 million to pay his taxes is just a very strange detail.
Biden made $5.8 million from half his total earnings, more than half his total earnings from 2013 to 2018 from two deals with Chinese business interests. Biden's most lucrative business relationship was acting as a consultant in a project with a company that belonged to a once powerful Chinese businessman who was now thought to be detained in his homeland. According to business records referred to in the Senate report, Hudson West III, a venture, or Hunter West III, a venture funded by the Chinese oil and natural gas company CEFC, and its chairman Yi Jianming paid about $4.8 million to Owasco PC over about 1 year. Filings with the Washington, D.C. government show Owasco PC is controlled by Hunter Biden. A review of the personal and corporate emails on Biden's hard drive yield little information about any business he conducted on behalf of Hudson West III, and his autobiography doesn't discuss his Chinese business dealings in any detail.
Oh, weird.
Mm-hmm. One of the few potential business opportunities discussed appears in a series of email exchanges between Biden, several U.S. partners, and Chinese individuals associated with Hudson West III. They talked about potential gas deals on Monkey Island. There it is again.
Oh, Monkeypox Island.
In Louisiana in 2017, but it appears no deal was made and no publicly available documents indicate any sort of purchase, sale, or agreement. And then it goes into Brittany Singletary, the attorney who conducted due diligence for the Monkey Island deal, and another deal told NBC News that ultimately the deals didn't come together because they just didn't make sense. Quote, financially, it wasn't going to work. Sorry, Hunter, we can't clean all that dirty money.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is. Let's see. How much more do we want to keep going here?
There's a whole bunch.
So much.
There was, but here's how it really wraps up. And I think it says a lot to what I mentioned before about the way NBC is, again, the Hunter Biden laptop was a huge controversial story that was suppressed in the most aggressive manner by the big tech companies, as in Twitter, kicking off New York Post for publishing the story. Any link to the New York Post story was taken off of Facebook right before the election. It was literally big tech and the corporate news industry colluding to manipulate the election by hiding bad press about Hunter Biden. And since then, it's been irrefutable that the Biden laptop is, true. It exists, and that the stuff on it doesn't say a lot of good things about Hunter. And, lots of news organizations are sort of sneaking out the back door on participating in a literal manipulation of the election. It may not be voting machines or bamboo ballots or mail-in ballots or mules or whatever, but just on a very objective level, outright censoring in more of an aggressive way than anything else that has ever been censored by big tech in the corporate news. The Hunter Biden laptop story was buried, completely buried, specifically, and there are quotes on this from the elites, that it was specifically done because they didn't want it affecting the election. And now it's irrefutable, and many of them are sort of skirting out the back door and not apologizing for what they've done. They're finding really creative ways to report on the details that still make it out to be that Hunter is some sort of victim, and that his crimes are not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I'm going to read the last couple paragraphs to sort of wrap it up.
That's what I was going to suggest.
Okay, so
go ahead and do that.
Okay, so while Republicans have suggested that Biden's reference in an email to needing money for his family refers to the larger Biden clan, nothing in the Senate documents or on the hard drive indicates he was earning money expressly to share with other family members, including his father. Anecdotal evidence from the hard drive and the documents, as well as Biden's autobiography and the 2017 divorce filings from his ex-wife, is consistent with Biden's needing the money for his ex-wife and children, tuition and mortgage, and for his profligate personal spending. Am I saying that word right? Profligate. However, should Republicans...
No, keep going.
Should Republicans take control of Congress, as seems likely, they will use their subpoena power to try to find and highlight any financial connections between father and son. And this is the kicker here. Quote, family members of presidents and other political officials are going to make money, said Schaub, the ethicist. Quote, they're going to have jobs. They're private citizens. And it's really not for us to say how or when they make money. Unfortunately, this is a continued quote, unfortunately, Hunter Biden seems a lot like somebody whose primary profession is being Joe Biden's son. But unless there's a direct connection to Joe Biden, that's really more of a criticism of one private citizen rather than a government official or an administration, end quote. So, they're giving him, they're calling out the problem with Hunter Biden, but in the end, they're letting him go. They're like, it's like catching fish, but then like throwing him back into the ocean. It's like, well, you're bad, but there's nothing really bad. There's nothing that people can come down on you on or come down on Joe. That's kind of the takeaway. Right. To juxtapose the strategy here, in the way that they are trying to connect Elon to Republicans in a broad sense, or they're trying to connect great replacement theory to Republicans in a broad sense, they want to do the opposite, which is Hunter Biden is not connected with his father. He's his own man, trying to disconnect Hunter from the broader. Him for being his job being the son of Joe Biden, but you're just criticizing a private citizen, not a government official.
They're trying to disconnect Hunter Biden from his father and therefore from the administration and by extension the Democratic Party, which is just very interesting to see those two opposing strategies being played out at the same time.
Yeah. All right. Well, a very interesting story, but we got some stuff on Ukraine and Russia and Ukraine, Russia,
Ukraine, New World Order.
Or yeah, let's
Russia.
Sorry.
Russia.
What's happening?
Russia.
Now you are cooking.
Can I get 2 hamburgers?
Yes, sir.
With French fries?
Yes, sir.
What about an omelet?
Sure. Got a couple eggs.
Yeah, and another sort of strange, twisty-turvy, piece of rhetoric and reporting where, of course, we've heard from the mouth of Joe Biden that he is propagating food shortages, and that's their goal. TheGuardian.com here is reporting U.S. accuses Russia of weaponizing food in Ukraine crisis and holding global supplies hostage. Again, it's the Putin price hike. It's whether it's inflation or the baby formula or just food in general. It's all Putin's fault. The United States has accused Russia of holding the world's food supply hostage amid growing fears of famine in developing countries. As a former Russian president warned that the Kremlin would not release vital grain shipments without an end to Western sanctions. Yeah, so it's his fault, not our fault for sanctioning him. It's his fault for not liking the sanctions. Speaking at a UN Security Council meeting on Thursday, U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken demanded that Russia lift its blockade of Ukraine's Black Sea ports and enable the flow of food and fertilizer around the world. Quote, the Russian government seems to think that using food as a weapon will help accomplish what its invasion has not, to break the spirits of the Ukrainian people, he said at the meeting called by the Biden administration. Ooh, very well said there, Blinken. We can cut off food shipments to Russia, but when Russia cuts it off to us, that's not cool. Quote, the food supply for millions of Ukrainians and millions more around the world has quite literally been held hostage by the Russian military, he added. Blinken called on Russia to, quote, stop threatening to withhold food and fertilizer exports from countries that criticize your war of aggression. That's a pretty broad statement. Stop threatening to withhold food and fertilizer exports from countries that criticize your war of aggression. So what they're not saying here is the word sanction. They're not saying that Russia has sanctioned food exports to countries that, criticize Russia, because if we use that word, then we would have to question our own sanctions. Russia and Ukraine produce 30% of the global wheat supply and 69% of the world's sunflower oil. Earlier on Thursday, Dmitry Medvedev, a former president of Russia who is now senior security official, warned that Russia would not continue food supplies unless the West eased its sanctions on the Kremlin. After pleas from Western governments and the United Nations to Moscow to allow the flow of food to avert possible famine in some countries, Medvedev said on Thursday that Russia was ready to do so, but expected, quote, assistance from trading partners, including on international platforms in return. Quote, otherwise, there is no logic. On the one hand, insane sanctions are being imposed against us. On the other hand, they are demanding food supplies, Medvedev said on the messaging app Telegram. Quote, things don't work like that. We're not idiots.
How do we know it was actually on? That was actually him.
Well, he makes a point. He's not talking crazy. Quote, countries importing our wheat and other food products will have a very difficult time without supplies from Russia.
Did we lose you?
Juicy.
We lost you for a second. You got disconnected for a second.
Okay. Countries importing our wheat and other food products will have a very difficult time without supplies from Russia, and on European and other fields, without our fertilizers, only juicy weeds will grow, added Medvedev, who served as president between 2008 and 2012, but is now deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council. Quote, we have every opportunity to ensure that other countries have food and food crises do not happen. Just don't interfere with our work.
Whoa.
Ooh. Ertharin Cousin, chief executive and founder of Food Systems for the Future, and a co-author of a report on the issue with Boston Consulting Group, said the crisis would have ramifications across the world. Quote, well, yeah, we said this 3 months ago, I said this. Quote, while this crisis will impact all of us around the world in significant ways, low-income economies risk devastation and potential unrest, she said. Quote, we're not just talking about the poorest of the poor who are already suffering from hunger. We're also talking about people who could recently afford a loaf of bread for their families and who now will be unable to do so. The demand to have sanctions on Russian economy lifted could intensify Western efforts to supply Ukraine with weapons it needs to be able to challenge Russia's naval blockade. Ukraine has already sunk Russia's flagship battle cruiser Moskva, but its military would need more sophisticated missiles in order to force the Russian Black Sea Fleet to back off. Ooh, some real naval operations here, Gonz. Mm-hmm. According to the report by Reuters, the White House is working on such a plan. Oh, good.
Great.
More missiles. 3 U.S. officials and 2 congressional sources said 2 types of powerful anti-ship missiles were in active consideration for either direct shipment to Ukraine or via transfer from a European ally that has the missiles, Reuters reported on Thursday. That was yesterday. The plans are tempered by concerns that supplying Ukraine with the latest anti-ship weaponry would intensify the conflict. Yeah. Meow, meow, meow. We get it. Then it gives some numbers.
Yeah, so the takeaway is the same thing as the coming in, that Russia is to blame for everything.
That's right. Well, and more than anything, of course, we know Russia is to blame for everything. That would be simply unpatriotic to not admit, Gonz. But the fact of the matter is that when Biden says that he is ready to disseminate food shortages, he means it. He means it quite literally. Because as much as they like to blame everything on Putin, Putin's price hike, Putin's inflation, Putin's food shortage, whatever, every single step of the way, it is something provoked and caused by the Biden administration's actions in Ukraine.
And piggybacking on that real quick, I'm going to skip around, Basil, from the list, but let me just go here to abcnews.go.com. Russian opposition group pushing U.S. to sanction next tier of Putin enablers.
Do more. Sanction more.
We need that level up sound effect, or the mushroom sound effect from Mario or something where you get big. It's like the next level, man. Top members of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny. Is that how you say it? I said it wrong
Navalny.
Before.
No,
Alexei Navalny's team are pressing U.S. officials to pursue sanctions against 6,000 Russians, who they say are among the next tier of those enabling Russian Vladimir Putin and the invasion of Ukraine. Members of Navalny's Anti-Corruption Foundation met Thursday with staff from the Senate Foreign Affairs Committee and the Senate Intelligence Committee, as well as officials with the Department of Justice and the Treasury Department, the group's executive director, Vladimir Asherkov, told ABC News. Navalny...
Okay, sorry. Yeah, do they explain who Navalny is in this whole thing?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Navalny has been held in a Russian jail since January of 2021, while his anti-corruption foundation is based outside of Russia. Thursday's meetings were part of a 4-day trip to push the U.S. to take action against thousands of Putin supporters who Asherkov said are outside of the super-rich multi-billionaire class and who still have time to decide what they want the future of Russia to look like. Quote, "It's a lot of officials, not necessarily at the top, but the next tier," Asherkov said. You know, let me just finish here. Quote, "The average age for them is 45 years old, so they still have a life after Putin," he said. Quote, "And they have to think hard about where they stand on this war and on Putin's regime." Asherkov said the 6,000 names have already been made public, which, quote, "creates for them motivation to step away and distance themselves from Putin's regime." Quote, "And that's what we want to achieve," Asherkov said. Among the Justice Department's officials, the group met with Among the Justice Department officials the group met with were members of the department's Klepto Capture Task Force, which was formed in March to target the assets of Russian oligarchs. And this
Navalny is the key to the whole thing, and it's very interesting that they don't say very much about him. So Navalny was this sort of, rebellious figure in Putin's regime, not in the regime, but in Putin's Russia, rather. He's kind of the most famous, recently outspoken political foe of Putin. He did a great job. He was the guy, it was his people that did that big video on Putin's mansion, his like $1 billion mansion, focusing on exposing corruption.
Right. So he's like a social media guy. He's got like a YouTube channel, right? He's
kind of like a more modern Julian Assange type, you know. And he was sort of
6 million YouTube subscribers.
Yeah, he's very popular. He's an insanely popular fella, especially in Russia and the surrounding area. And he was sort of exiled, and in exile, he was poisoned by allegedly the FSB, the
KGB.
The KGB.
Yeah.
We call it
remade.
KGB. Yeah, it's officially FSB. So he gets poisoned by Putin. I believe, I don't want to get I will get the details wrong, but I believe he was one of the individuals who was poisoned with Novichok. I want to say in Britain or something. Could have been in somewhere else in Europe. And he almost died. He spent a bunch of time in the hospital, and meanwhile, he sort of has his team of people continuing to expose corruption. He's kind of public enemy number one to Putin. Putin hates this guy, obviously tried to kill him. He recovers from his poisoning or the assassination attempt. And as he is, I believe he was still technically exiled from Russia, and he just got on a plane and flew to Russia, and surprise, surprise, got put in jail in Russia.
No.
And so he's been in prison in Russia it's been about a year, a little over a year or so. But I've listened to and I've read some analyses of the whole thing. And basically, the idea is he is not going to get out of prison. He will die in prison unless Putin dies first or gets put out of power or whatever. And on top of that, he is sort of the number one pick to rule Russia after Putin dies, is sort of the idea, or gets thrown out of power. So if you're talking about, we've had the Biden administration admit that they want regime change. Sure, they walked it back later. You've had not even just the Biden say it, but you've had a lot of the high-level military guys. There was a general the other day who basically just said, yeah, it's a proxy war. Yeah, we're trying to get Putin out of power. Of course, it's a proxy war. No, it's not about the Ukrainian. He just said it like in an interview. And so if regime change is the goal of the Biden administration, which it seems to be, Navalny really is kind of the guy. If he can survive in jail long enough, he would be the guy who would be a shoo-in as far as the United States, intelligence apparatus and government would be concerned. He was somewhere at the top of the list.
So it would be, flipping the example, would it be like Russia, the Russian government or the intelligence, the FSB or whoever, recruiting like a YouTuber from the US? And the
YouTuber is not quite the best.
TikToker or something.
It's more of like an Assange figure.
Okay, so he was doing like exposing of government corruption.
Yeah, he was like doing lots of like very intense, investigative journalism and stuff like that. Right. So it's not quite just a YouTube guy. It's more of like an Assange character.
So it would be like Russia funding let's see, Veritas. Veritas,
yeah, sure,
that guy could be like the next president or something.
Yeah, it could be something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
If Assange was extradited to the U.S. and we held him in jail, it would be like Russia supporting a war with Mexico to overthrow our government to make Julian Assange president of the U.S. Which is, it sounds crazy when you flip it around like that.
Yeah.
But we've done exactly that so many times.
That's why it's important to do that exercise, to kind of understand what's happening here. It's not really like one person's bad. Well, they are bad, but tactically, it's always the same.
And we've done it before. We did it with Zelensky. The only reason Zelensky is president of Ukraine is because we helped overthrow Ukraine.
It worked. Let's do it again with Russia.
And we put in a comedian.
Putin guy makes it hard.
Yeah. So it's not that hard to draw the connection. Whether or not it actually happens or not, Navalny is on the list of people that the U.S. would like to put in charge in Russia.
Well, obviously, they think this next tier is a great idea. They got some serious people in on having the conversation with his organization. So yeah. And his organization is very influential in Russia and abroad. You know, so if Navalny is saying do more sanctions, there's a good chance he's saying that because the U.S. wants him to say that, and B, there's a good chance that it'll have support around the world. So very interesting. We know what the U.S. government really wants to do with Ukraine.
Drone strikes have saved lives.
Can we shoot them down if over our property?
Drones.
Yeah, this really connects nicely just to the whole madness of the whole situation. TheIntercept.com, Glenn Greenwald's former employer, and actually he was a former founder, quote, article titled, Military Industrial Complex is itching to send hunter-killer drones to Ukraine. Yay! After failing to convince the Biden administration to ship NATO fighter jets to Ukraine, the military industrial complex is now trying to coax the White House into sending what are essentially unmanned fighter jets to counter Russia's invasion. This is like literally what Trump wanted to do, except he wanted to paint a Chinese flag on the drone. Kyiv reportedly met with the major defense contractor General Atomics about obtaining the hunter-killer MQ-9 Reaper drone armed with Hellfire missiles, which the United States has infamously used in botched airstrikes that killed and maimed civilians in Afghanistan, Somalia, and other countries around the world. The company and Kyiv's allies in Washington are appealing to policymakers to greenlight the export, despite the high risk of escalation. There's that word again, Gonz, that could turn the devastating war nuclear. And another mention of nuclear. All we really need, nuclear. Here you go, chat. All we really need is for them to mention a monkey in this article, and it wraps up the whole episode.
Everything's coming together.
Take retired Air Force Lieutenant General David Deptula, Dean of the influential and General Atomics-funded Mitchell Institute for Aerospace Studies, who penned an op-ed in Forbes advocating for the U.S. to give Ukraine Reapers in March before Kyiv's interest was publicly known. He blasted skeptics who voiced concerns about offering Poland's MiG-29 fighter jets to Ukraine, saying they're, quote, being cowed by Putin, the Russian president. That's exactly right. You're carrying water for Putin if you don't want the American military-industrial complex to send hunter-killer Reaper drones. Yeah.
We got to sell these weapons.
Which makes nothing but sense because, of course, this entire thing is about making money for the military-industrial complex. And then it kind of just talks about more drones, just a big, long article about drones. So I don't think we need to go too much more into it. But when you hear that, we're afraid to send missiles to Ukraine because it might escalate, you're going to send way more than just anti-ship missiles. And yes, it will escalate. And yes, the nuclear option. That is the whole plan.
That's the whole plan. That's the whole point.
Thank you for understanding the purpose of this whole thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, I feel like we got what we got, or got what we needed from the Ukraine situation here. So
I think so too. Let's take a break.
Let's take a break here.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
This is our second break where we thank our producers who come in with their talent. Canary Cry News Talk is a place for therapeutic reflection of our troubling world, and we encourage listeners out there to who have talent, whether it be drawing or sculpting or some kind of I don't know. I'm trying to think of other mediums of expression that are unusual that can be unique to the show.
Still waiting for the interpretive dance.
The interpretive dance is out there, but we maybe we need to cast a wider net. If there's more other talents out there. I don't know, spoon bending,
fushigi balls.
Yeah, sure.
Fushigi. Somebody do some Canary Cry fushigi art. Send it in.
Or a yo-yo master. That'd be great. Canary Cry yo-yo, and just
I'm sticking with fushigi.
Making that triangle,
Fushigi's coming back, man. I've seen some TikToks. Been keeping an eye on the
Fushigi
trends.
just means strange in Japanese.
Yeah, fushigi is like the Dark Crystal, or the Labyrinth rather, the movie The Labyrinth.
Yes, yeah.
With David Bowie, and he pulls
David
out
Bowie.
that crystal ball.
My headphone just
kind of
fell
like
out.
juggles
I can't
it
hear you.
around.
Sorry. Hold on.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry. Headphones falling out. I can't hear anything you're saying. All right, what?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
I don't even want to explain fushigi anymore.
All right, okay, let's move on.
It's juggling. It's the clear like crystal ball things that you move around with your hand.
Okay.
Like David Bowie. It's a good time.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, do that for the show.
Yeah.
Apparently. So we encourage those of you out there to that have talent to express it. And, it helps all of us process this crazy world. And we like to share the art so that we can do it together as a community of people. And we're going to start it off with some audio production. Here we go. Yeah.
Audio production.
All right. Trying to manage a couple different things going on today, so it's new and always weird. We got a couple audio things, audio production, jingles, music from some people. We're going to start with James M., who sent us a note here. Hey guys, it's producer James M. here. In the tradition of low-budget Christian remixes, I did this quick song for the show on a cheap mic, but I hope you like it. Sorry it's a little rough around the edges. I know a lot of audio producers are more professional, but hey. And an emoji, like the shoulder shrug emoji. Love you guys. Thanks. Okay, so we got a piece here from
James M. is being very modest here. And let me tell you, James, you don't need to be so modest. This was awesome. I've listened to it like 100 times.
Canary Cry News Talk, man, what's going on? Gotta turn it on, shows coming on live. VPN on when I'm going online. Anonymity, man, cryptocurrency. We got everything you need, get it 3 times a week. Jesus Christ the King, let the Holy Spirit speak. Battle in the cage, gotta set the captive free. Value for value, to me it's not free. Wish I had a longer streak, but this creativity, go fulfill the 3 T's, that's the time to just
so good. We're gonna play that at the end of the mixtape.
Yeah, I'm
so good. I loved it, James M. No need to be modest, my man. You need to crank out some more of these. This was sick, and you will play this at the end of the show at the Canary Cry mixtape.
Yeah,
legit, fully legit. Thank you.
I like the voice. Like the deep voice. Sounds great.
He knows what he's doing, man.
Yeah.
He's got skills.
Yep. Thank you very much, James M. Appreciate it. And we also got one from Jonathan F. coming in. Thank you, Jonathan F. He has a note. This is inspired by verses Philippians 2, verses 10 through 11. Oh, 2 verses. Okay. Philippians 2, 10 through 11, and Revelation 11, 3 and 5. The 2 witnesses.
I will give power to my 2 witnesses. and they will be clothed in burlap and will prophesy during those 1,260 days. If anyone would harm them, fire goes from their mouth and consumes their foes. If anyone would harm them, this is how he is doomed to be killed. At the name of Jesus, every knee should bow, of those in heaven and of those on earth and of those under the earth, and that every tongue should confess.
Well done, Jonathan F.
To the glory of God the Father.
Yeah, I just let it play out. It was only a few
Playing
seconds
it through.
left there.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
Yeah,
I
it's about
love
40
it. We'll play.
seconds.
Okay, love it. Thank you. We will also play that. That was very fun.
Yeah, it was good. Thank you very much,
Thank you, Jonathan F.
Appreciate it. All right, we're going to do some art here.
One art, please.
And we're going to kick it off with Dame Allie of the Skillet Nation.
One art, please. Another one from Allie now. Here it is.
I'm realizing I'm using a different browser for this today because of the different look here. So here we go. Allie has a piece here with a note, another face to add to the mix. Always keeping a lookout for all the strange creatures that we report.
Blizzard people.
Yes. Yeah. And it's quoting an article from MSN. The headline is Pentagon Spock's John Kirby joining White House comms team for senior role report. Pentagon spokesperson John Kirby is set to join the White House communications team. Kirby will be heading to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue for a senior role. Senior is in parentheses for some reason. Senior role, but that his, quote, exact title and role remain unclear, per two sources with knowledge of the move. That's weird. Kirby would make, quote, regular appearances at the daily press briefing. Oh, though some indicated he would not be sharing duties with White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, the new the Psaki replacement. So they're saying he's not going to be sharing duties with her. So we'll see.
He's just supposed to be speaking for the Pentagon, which tells you we are seriously going into a time of war.
Yeah,
you don't have a separate Pentagon spokes hole,
right?
Unless it's going to be the main focus of attention for the country.
He's expected to be heavily involved in White House communications, including working closely with the National Security Council. The Post wrote, quote, Kirby, who has served as the top spokesperson for the Defense Department since the start of the administration, has impressed White House officials with his briefings, particularly in recent months as Russia has invaded Ukraine. Oh,
this is interesting. I wonder if they just don't want Jean-Pierre talking about war, because she's supposed to be, the sort of social justice-y liberal example from the White House, and you can't have Karine Jean-Pierre,
supporting
talking
war.
about bombing Russian children or whatever.
Right.
You need an old military guy, and John Kirby is exactly that. I mean, you look at the guy; he is like a caricature of someone who would be speaking for the Pentagon. He's got a very square face. He's got a strong nose. He's got glaring lizard eyeballs that are both glinting with some type of evil, but also you can tell that it lacks something, anything that resembles a soul. And, if you're going to be talking about war, this is kind of just some basic psychology here. If you want to be comforted, you use a woman voice or a woman form. If you want to feel protected, you use a man's voice or a man's form. So when it comes to war, you got to get a big military-looking guy up there, and that's exactly what we're looking at here. Dame Allie brought a wonderful headshot, extremely talented depiction of exactly what the American people need to feel safe and continue to support ludicrous expenditures for the sort of, propagation of the American empire. Thank you very much, Dame Allie.
Thank you, Dame Allie. It is very interesting that as the pendulum swings back to conservatism, Republican we're like, time for war.
Time for war. And, even though it was started by a Democratic president.
It's weird because the Trump presidency, even though he's ran as a Republican and everything, it was very much a left-wing world, like a liberal left world.
Yes.
But now
and that's what I told everybody.
Yeah.
That's what I told all the liberals in my life, who hated Trump so much. And the only thing I could respond with is, if Hillary had gotten in, she would have started a war and everything would have been extremely conservative right now.
Yeah.
You're only enjoying this sort of like liberal uprising because of Trump's election, which is hard for people to fully comprehend.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dame Allie.
Thank you, Dame Allie. Next up, we have Sir Dove, Knight of Resbeltia.
One art piece from Dove.
And Dove's piece comes with a note, as always. And it says, "Peace. For today's artwork, I did a package design for a future product, possibly debuting in around 18 months or so. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins."
That's right. A new product. We'll see how the market goes. But what we have here is a bag of your best buddy Basil's meat snacks, teriyaki emu jerky, slow cooked at an undisclosed off-the-grid, quote, zoo. Per serving, you got 13 grams of protein, 33 calories, made with premium emu, 66% fat-free. Up at the top there, we've got the U.S. inspected and passed by Gates Farms and Department of Agriculture seal.
Good.
Got a googly-eyed emu. Oh, he's so cute. A little googly-eyed emu on the front there, looking so tasty. And up at the top, my favorite part is the logo. So this is based off of, what are they called? Jack Link's, a Jack Link's jerky bag. And where Jack Link's would have the bull's horns kind of outlined in red, Dove has created a similar logo of the outline of a cat on top of an outline of someone's head wearing a VR goggles. And both the cat and the man have googly eyes as well. This is really something. I was thinking maybe I'll need to find some sort of personal logo if I, branch out and become the world's premier robo critic. I think the outline of a cat on my head is a perfect option. And if not for that, definitely for your best buddy Basil's meat snacks, teriyaki emu jerky.
I was gonna say, you're going to be robot critic and emu jerky king.
Yeah, tycoon. I prefer tycoon.
Okay.
Yeah,
tycoon.
This is wonderful. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. And your best buddy Basil's meat snacks, the #1 snack of the New World Order Fantasy League. Make sure to tune in.
Yeah, you got to eat something while
I smell a sponsorship opportunity.
Great. All right. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. That does it for the art. We got some microfictions, though.
Microfiction.
Microfiction. And this first one is from Runk Smash.
Monty and Rooster stalked through the house. The man has already started making his hot brown water and is now getting dressed for his Davos trip. They see him finish tying a tie and put on his emu shaman hat. Rooster pounces and pecks his toe drive.
Okay.
Not only does this thoroughly wrap up pretty much all the lore that was created last episode, but he's the voice.
You froze. Sorry, the voice what? Sorry, cut out.
The voice of Runk Smash, where he is able to speak from the perspective of a cat and a rooster. See the world, describe the world as a propaganda rooster would, is really incredible. Thank you very much, Runk Smash.
Thank you, Runk Smash. And we have another one from MLC.
Yes.
Yeah.
A new fighter has entered the ring.
Well, this is the second one from MLC, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ready?
I'm ready, man.
All right. Yeah.
Rumors started immediately. Russia was supposedly hitting Ukraine as hard as they could, but not making much of a dent. Ukraine had reports of UFOs protecting them. Everything that was reported was unable to be verified or truly believed. All countries spread their own propaganda based on their location. Not long after that, McDonald's then told the world they were going to be closing up their Russian restaurants. Russia then took the McDonald's oligarchs into custody and seized all locations and assets within their borders. With McDonald's robotics and Russia's version of Gato, Machine Gun Flippy was born.
All right, so yeah,
there we go.
Machine Gun Flippy.
Machine Gun Flippy is
Machine Gun
in
Kelly
the fight.
Version of, or Flippy version of Machine Gun Kelly.
I still don't know who that is.
I don't either, but I know people talk about him.
Yeah, then that's what matters.
Allegedly famous for something, not sure what.
Reviews.
Oh, Jingle Board, why did you do this to me? Oh,
why?
Come on. It just disappeared. It just decided to
just
crash.
Gone, huh? Well, I think I did a good job. I did a good
You
job.
did,
We're okay. I'm going to read some reviews.
I had the button right there, and I hate it when it just decides to stop working.
Let's recover. We're recovering. This is us recovering because we're professionals.
Yep, here we go.
Steven. Oh, full recover. Good job. Stephen David via the United States of America. 5 stars. Second review. I'll keep this short. You guys are absolutely knocking it out of the park and putting out so much good stuff that it's making the hours at work go much faster so I can get back to honing those prepper skills I'm working on. May have to get my own propaganda rooster soon. Can I just say it's a great thing when keeping up with the Joneses comes to learning how to grow food and building skills. Yeah, that's a good point. Love this great positive community you guys have built. Thank you, but you guys built the community. P.S. Dropkick me, Jesus, through the goalposts of life.
I think you're supposed to sing that. There's musical notes around it.
I don't know what the tune is.
I don't know either, but...
Drop kick my Jesus through the goalposts of life.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well
Very
done.
good. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Stephen.
Next up, we got Rocky Creek Farm in the United States of America. 5 stars, enjoyable and informative. I use these guys as a fringe news clipping service to stay semi-current on what's happening in the thinly veiled chaos monster we call the internet. I enjoy eavesdropping on the weirdness of the community passively through podcasts instead of the live feed. I really don't worry, most people do. You're good, Rocky. I really like the stuff the audio producers contribute, and I'm sure I will enjoy the art if I ever decide to check out the live stream. Basil Gonz, I want to make it perfectly clear. I am not a mooch, all caps. I've been contributing a few dollars a month since the early Patreon days, and I see it as an economical subscription to a valuable service. Amen, brother. I think it goes to Basil and Gonz instead of Canary Cry News Talk. He's on the Canary Cry radio one. Thank you. That's okay. It all goes the same place. If you listen to these guys regularly, you need to support them, even if it's just $11.79 a month. Which I guess through Patreon gets them $10 after fees. Like I do, he says. Who knows? You may decide to jump completely in the cage and become an executive producer or even go for knighthood. Either way, you'll stay clear of Gonz's angry uncle and avoid being called an ugly, horrible person. You're doing a good job, guys. Keep up your good, hard work. I think Jesus probably raises an eyebrow at you every now and then, but I'm sure he's pleased with the enjoyable way you always bring glory to his name. Amen. Thank you very much, Rocky Creek. Yeah. Wow. So many good things in there. Thanks for supporting the show for so long with your finances. Thanks for saying such nice things about us. And if Jesus didn't want to raise an eyebrow at us once in a while, he would have picked somebody else. So
yeah, that's true.
I appreciate that. Okay, last review for the day, Gonz, and then we're going to give everybody one final ooh woo. This is from Unscripted One from Canada. 5 stars. Top 10 favorite spelled in the Canadian way. Top 10. Okay, let's hear this. I'm blessed to be able to listen to podcasts all day at work, and I always keep Basil and Gonz in the loop. Their Christian opinions of world events are well worth tuning into, as they've been earnestly digging into possible end-time scenarios for over a decade together with friends. Shout out to fellow Canarians who keep their shows going. May God richly bless you all for keeping this valuable resource on the air. Indeed. Thank you very much, Unscripted One. Yeah, and I like the shout out to all the producers, a recognition that the show, no matter what we do, Gonz, the show wouldn't be here without the producers. So,
amen.
There you go, folks. We did it. We got 6 ratings and reviews this week, which means it's time to ooh woo.
Are you going to actually dance? I can ISO screen you, and here we go.
Oh, sure.
The delay makes it all the more better, I would say.
Yeah, all the mo better. And there you go, folks. We're gonna try to do it again. Like I said before, if we get 5 or more reviews, it really pumps up those algorithms. Hundreds of new people find the show every week. It's an awesome way to help the show out and costs you nothing except for like a minute of your time. So please, take the example of all these wonderful people who said all these wonderful things and leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. Everybody has it. Well, every Apple device has it. It's just a little purple icon. Search it for Apple Podcasts. Search Canary Cry News Talk. Subscribe. You know the drill. Leave a rating and a review. And but if you don't, I'll let Gonz, you tell them what happens.
Ugly, horrible person. You must leave review on iTunes. And if you do not, you are ugly, horrible person. You bring shame to family. Ugly, horrible person.
There you go. Thank you, everybody, for leaving reviews. And thank you for producing the show with your talent. And if you're out there, you're an artist, a musician, whatever you do, a fushigi, a juggler, go ahead and create something for the show. Send it in to CanaryCry.Radio@gmail.com, and we will put it on the show. We love it so much. It means so much to us, not just us, but to thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people around the world. Will appreciate your contribution, and it helps build the culture around here. All right, time to wake up.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Space, 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 space. Wanna go to space?
Spaceship.
Wow.
Yeah. You want to do this first one and I'll do the next one, or do you want me to do this first one?
I am unfamiliar with this first one. Why don't you take the first one?
Okay. Indie. It's independent.co.uk. Headline: U.S. military awards contracts for nuclear spacecraft propulsion.
Cool.
It just
sounds dangerous.
Nukes everywhere, man. Monkeypox, and now we got NASA.
Nukes and monkeys. Nukes and monkeys. The whole episode.
The U.S. military has awarded 2 contracts for the development of nuclear space propulsion with the goal to see orbital prototypes fly by 2027. The Defense Innovation Unit of the Pentagon, which works to apply commercial technologies to military problems, awarded the contracts to Avalanche Energy and Ultra Safe Nuclear, both of Seattle, Washington. Man, what if something happens?
Seattle, cool.
Yeah, what if something happens at Ultra Safe Nuclear? I mean, if there's an accident or something, it'd be really ironic.
Is that the name of the company?
Yeah,
Ultra Safe?
Yeah, so there's Avalanche Energy and Ultra Safe Nuclear.
That's good. We should name our podcast The Very Good Podcast.
The very best podcast.
Very best podcast.
They will provide, quote, solutions that give small spacecraft the ability to maneuver at will in cislunar space and enable high-powered payloads that will support the expansion of Department of Defense space missions, according to a statement.
Excuse me, did you say cislunar?
Oh, yes. We will, yes. It explains what that is in a moment here.
Cislunar, like cis male?
Yes. The term cislunar refers to the space between Earth and the moon and the moon's orbit. Space between Earth and the moon and the moon's orbit.
Yeah, like the inside of a hula hoop.
Mm-hmm. Quote,
I cannot think of a funny way to attach this to anything.
Advanced nuclear technologies will provide the speed, power, and responsiveness to maintain an operational advantage in space. U.S. Air Force Maj Ryan Weed, the program manager for the Pentagon's Nuclear Advanced Propulsion and Power, said in a statement, quote, nuclear tech has traditionally been government developed and operated, but we have discovered a thriving ecosystem of commercial companies, including startups, innovating in space nuclear. Ultrasafe Nuclear is researching a next-generation form of radioisotope battery, which uses the decay of radioactive isotopes such as americium-241 and plutonium-238 to generate electricity. Similar technologies have provided the electricity for NASA missions into deep space, such as Voyager, who we will hear from in a moment, Cassini, and New Horizons spacecraft. The statement says ultrasafe nuclear's technology could yield 10 times the power of existing radioisotope systems. Avalanche Energy, meanwhile, is developing a compact fusion reactor it calls the Orbitron. Fusion is the same thermonuclear reaction that takes place in the sun, where hydrogen atoms are squeezed together under tremendous pressure to form helium atoms. This releases more energy than nuclear fission, a chain reaction splitting the large atom of heavy elements such as uranium, and which powers existing nuclear power plants on Earth. The Avalanche Energy notes on its website that most fusion reactor research has so far relied on massive machinery and that no designs to date have produced more energy than they consume. If successful with their prototype, either the Avalanche Energy Orbitron or ultra-safe nuclear radioisotope battery could power a nuclear electric spacecraft. Such a spacecraft would use thruster technology similar to existing satellites, where electricity is used to accelerate charged propellant particles out of the thruster to generate thrust. Thrusters generate lower thrust very efficiently, and so can allow a spacecraft to build to very high velocities over time while using much less propellant than chemical rockets. Using nuclear rather than solar or other power sources can allow thrusters to operate more efficiently for longer and in the absence of abundant sunlight. And it goes on here.
This fusion, so Avalanche Energy is trying to do a compact fusion reactor.
Yeah.
I was fed an article this morning that I did not bring to the show because I didn't want to. I think it was from Wired, if I remember correctly, and is saying, fusion reactors don't exist yet, and they never will, because we're running, there's no way to get the fuel for them. And I forget what it's called. It's like tritium or something. There's some special mineral that we need for fusion reactors.
Yeah, it's when the comet's going to come down and provide all that special substance for us. We're waiting for the asteroid to give us the...
Even better, this article blamed it on Putin.
Well, of course.
Putin is the reason that we're never going to have fusion.
You didn't have to say that.
Continue.
Yeah. Well, that's it. There's not much else to really... I can read a little bit more here, but that's...
okay. We're going to get the nukes in space, man.
Let me just wrap it up with this here. Quote, chemical and solar-based systems won't provide the power needed for future DoD missions, Maj Weed said in a statement. Maj Weed. Interesting name.
Nice.
It's not just the U.S. military that's interested in nuclear propulsion systems. In 2021, NASA, in partnership with the U.S. Department of Energy, awarded contracts to several companies, including Ultrasafe Technologies, to research nuclear propulsion technologies. With plans to send humans to Mars in the 2040s, NASA is interested in finding ways to cut the travel time for Mars astronauts. And nuclear propulsion could cut a 3-year round-trip mission down to close to 2 years. All right. Shave off that year, baby.
Saver.
Yeah, how come Elon's not in on this? Oh yeah, he's turning into a politician. He's a Republican now. He hasn't got no time for Mars. That's it. There you go. I mean, it's just the pattern of nukes or nuclear something. With you got the Bush Jr. slip up. You got the Nuclear Institute of Threat Institute publishing papers about monkeypox back in November.
Yeah, with monkeypox now becoming a big deal. Yeah. It is really weird. And you and I were talking about this before, we've stopped hearing that Putin is going to like nuke us for now.
Right.
It's like
his fault. It's just everything's his fault.
Well, it's dropped out of the news cycle that Putin is going to nuke us. I'm sure it'll pick back up, but it's almost like they want to keep the idea of nukes in the public mind. Like, even though it's not Putin saying it, let's just report on nukes connected to literally every big thing going on. Well, the nuclear connection to monkeypox. You got the nuclear connection to Biden going to South Korea, so close to North Korea, with them testing their nukes, or at least the rocket that would carry the nukes. You've got just nukes connected to everything, man, except for Putin. It's very, very odd.
Yeah.
Okay, well, here's another kind of. I mean, this is. I was going to say you could read this one too if you want. I do. You just take the last of the show here.
Well, this is also from independent.co.uk, and the headline here is Voyager is sending impossible data back to NASA from the edge of the solar system.
Love it.
Okay. NASA engineering team is investigating a mystery taking place on the Voyager 1 spacecraft. Voyager 1 is the most distant human-made object in existence. Having launched 44 years ago, it is currently operating at the edge of the solar system, flying through the interstellar medium beyond the sun's influence. However, scientists found that the craft is receiving and executing commands from Earth successfully, but the readouts from the probe's attitude, articulation, and control system, AACS, do not reflect what is actually happening on board Voyager 1. The system maintains the craft's orientation, keeping its antenna pointed precisely to the Earth, so the data can be sent from it to NASA. While all indications suggest that the AACS is working as normal, the telemetry data it is returning appears to be randomly generated, failing to reflect any possible state that the system could be in. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're in the picture. Yes.
So while you're talking to your child there, it's kind of confusing. You don't quite, it doesn't quite like lay it on thick enough. But basically, what they're saying is that Voyager has gotten so deep into space, allegedly, that it's kind of hitting some sort of quantum state almost, right, or barrier, where it's they're talking to it, they can read what's going on, and it's all working, and they've are communicating with the thing, but it's sending back just strange gobbledygook about its surroundings. That's part of what it does, is like reads things around it, kind of tells us what space is like out there, and more or less it's just sending back signals that are like, yeah, it's pretty weird out here, guys. I'm outside the solar system, space is getting pretty weird, I can't make sense of any of it.
Like that.
Yeah, something like that. But they're more like, it's basically Voyager is sending signals back that is telling us humans, like, I have no way of explaining this to you guys. It's just so weird out here. I don't even know what to say. You wouldn't get it. I could try to explain it, but you wouldn't get it. Which is interesting, because later on in the article, one of the engineers, the guys who drives the thing, he's like, yeah, it's not, we were kind of expecting this. We were kind of expecting to get a certain distance out and just have it completely lose any ability to describe reality to us. So yeah, we're not surprised. It'll probably die soon. Our precious little guy will probably die.
We got Biden. He's falling apart. We got Xi's got a brain aneurysm. Kim Jong-un's got a brain tumor. Who else? Who else has gotten Putin? Putin's losing his mind. And now
Putin
Voyager
has cancer apparently, and now Voyager. She's just floating around in the
reality. Man,
the void of space, pushing against the edges of reality. Existence is a difficult thing for a little robot.
It hit the firmament, the reality firmament.
It does kind of seem that way. I don't know if we followed it on the show, but I've been following Voyager. In the past few years is when he got past Pluto. And when he got past Pluto, he kind of did something similar. He sent a little message like, "Oh, it's pretty weird out here, guys." Kind of changed the paradigm of what we thought space was outside the solar system. And now he's just losing his mind. He's 50 years old, this little guy.
45.
45, yeah, okay. Yeah. So, he's only got a few more years in him.
That thing's older than I am, and I feel old. That's crazy.
I know. It's impressive. It's older than Gonz. Can you guys believe it?
What are these? What's the CGI on independent.co.uk with? I guess it's the trajectory of Voyager, and it's all CGI.
Actually
real footage. Voyager.
Yeah, they couldn't get a camera out past Voyager to film him.
I thought it's sending back data. What about the pictures, man? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's only taken them 45 years. 45 years to get out that far. They couldn't have sent out a camera like 10 years earlier to catch the...
What is it? It said it takes 2 days for it to receive transmission, like back and forth.
Yeah.
That's enough time to take a picture and send it. Come on.
Sure.
We got the internet.
There's no cameras
down
on this.
here.
There's not even any cameras on this little guy. That's the funny part.
Upgrade yourself. Come on.
Yeah. Get the AI. Can you upload AI?
Can we attach something to
radio signal?
The nuke ships, this nuke spacecraft, and give him
maybe
an
that's
iPhone?
why they want the nuke spacecraft, so they can go get Voyager back. Or miss our little friend.
Go get Voyager and upgrade him.
Voyager is also the satellite that has the golden record on it.
Yes.
The alien communication record sent out.
Which was no good because I think recently we reported, it might have been one of the solo shows I've done recently.
Yeah.
Where, they're sending out, birthday suit versions of the human. And they're saying, it's
problematic.
Appealing to the aliens. And it was very...
there's that. Yeah. It's also problematic because they, 45 years ago, they inscripted... just 2 genders.
I know.
On the
they're not going to be up to speed on the latest developments on Earth.
Yeah,
we must upgrade.
Even if they find the golden record, even if they find a way to decipher the gobbledygook on there and follow the map to Earth, they'll get here and be so confused. The aliens will land, they'll step on out, and they'll say, "Guys, I think we got the wrong place. This golden record says that there's 2 kinds of humans, and I'm seeing here anywhere between
says
7. Yeah, I've received a textbook from the state of California, and it says here that there's 182 different genders. We must have found an entirely different planet. We need to get out of here now."
Speaking of getting out of here now, it's a good time to exit, I think.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We're going to be back on Monday. That's the 23rd of May. Time keeps on slipping. You get the point. Thanks, everybody, for making the show possible. The show is impossible without the support of our producers, bringing in their time, their talent, and their treasure. I, again, want to thank executive producers. That's not them. Executive producers. Maureen M. and Nicholas P. Our new supply droppers, Laura S., Ivan L., and Kicking It Edwards. And, of course, the rest of our producers, Morv, Malik, Sir J.C. Knight of the Techno Squatch, James M., Alex Protocol V2, M. and Bobby C., Philip B., Lillian M., Sir Scott Knight of Truth, Sir Casey the Shield Knight, Gail M., Veronica D., Jackie U., Rug Smash, David J. and Sir James Knight, and Servant of the Lion of Judah. Thank you guys so much for committing
to carrying the heavy load that is keeping this show going. I know it can feel sometimes like a Sisyphusian task, and trust me, we feel it too. But we are so blessed by you guys and the Lord to be able to keep doing this show. And of course, thank you to all sorts of other producers, our artists, obviously, but also to some other ones, like our Clippies.
Thanks.
That's right. Let's take a step back real quick, Gonz, because I forgot to mention that if anybody out there wants to join the team of producers, the blessed few that help keep this show going financially, you can go to patreon.com or patreon.com/CCNT or CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
Now the Clippies. Thanks. That's right. Our clip producers are the beautiful, talented people who clip out every show and put it up on the Canary Cry Clips channel, an essential resource for reviewing information and sharing information in a careable, shareable, tasty little packet. Thank you to Emsworth, Faye Liverin, and soon to be another producer. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Timestampers.
Timestamp. It's hard work.
That's right. The timestampers, they timestamp out the whole show. It's very important for so many things. I couldn't possibly even begin to explain it to you, like Voyager, lost out on the edges of space. But thank you very much to Jade Bouncerson for Wednesday's timestamps.
Thank you very much.
Meetups.
Canary Cry Meetup.
Go to CanaryCry.Meetups.com. You can see all the meetups going on. We got the Zoom meetup tomorrow, the third Saturday. Head on over to CanaryCry.Meetups.com to get all the info for the Zoom meetup. We've also got the Los Angeles infiltration of the Church of Skatin'. That's right, the roller skating meetup, doing it. Lady B Hats at yahoo.com. Get in contact. You can find that contact over on the website. I did get a note from Lady Night Little Wing. That's what it is. Yeah. The date for the skate meetup is Tuesday, May 31st.
Whoa.
From 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock p.m.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Late night party on a Tuesday.
Late night party on a Tuesday, baby. Well, 8 o'clock. You don't have to stay the whole time, Gonz. At Moonlight Rollerway in Glendale, California. Contact this email for ticket info. And the email is, I believe, ladybhats@yahoo.com. I will copy it and I'll paste it into the chat so you can observe it in all of its glory. That's going to be very fun, Gonz. You're going to need to get a babysitter for that one. So there you go. If you want to go roller skating with some Canarians, enjoy your look. You don't have to actually even roller skate. You can just hang out, enjoy the sort of kitschy flavor of being at a roller skating rink. Keep an eye out for any members of the Church of Skatin' and intercede on the Lord's behalf, or rather on my behalf, interceding to the Lord. We got San Antonio, Texas on June 4th. Go check that out. Bemisdead at yahoo.com. And of course, Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania on July 9th. Contact Ethan Sammons 1@gmail.com. Go check it out. CanaryCry.Meetups.com. It's very important. Go do it. You can also put on your own. It's very easy. It's a very slight commitment. You're going to a place anyways. You might as well invite other Canarians, fellowship with them, make contacts, and just have a wonderful time. And we'll see you at the meetup.
This is fun!
You going to mention meetups again, just to mention it?
You mean reviews?
No, reviews.
I'm not. We're skipping it. You guys get it. Reviews.
Yeah.
Social That's right. Go share us on social media. I want to thank a very special Instagram user named Amber.
Amber. Thank you very much.
Posted about us on their story. That is amber.holistically. Christ follower wife. There you go. Everybody go follow Amber, and thank you very much for posting about the show. She posted, let me see here. It was a breakdown of the baby food shortage. It was our whole big breakdown. It was a wonderful breakdown. And I'm assuming she posted that because, well, she has babies. And I'm sure she knows other people who have babies. So it was relevant to her life and relevant to her followers. Thank you, Amber, for posting about the show.
Appreciate it.
And you, too, can get a shout-out on the show if you post about us. All you got to do is, the easiest thing in the world to do is go to the Canary Cry Clips channel, grab a clip, and post it. Tag us so we know that you did that. It's very helpful, helps other people find the show, and it activates those algorithms. We're trying to play the robots game here, so go do that. Other than that, share the show, share with your friends, share with your family, just share it the old-fashioned way, baby. Just burn it on a disc and chuck it into the ocean. Let the birds find it. Birds are in the ocean, right? Yeah, I think so. But you don't have to do it that absolutely normal way that I just said. You could find a more creative way to do it. I know lots of you there. You don't want to just do what you're told. You don't want to do what everybody else is doing. I get it. So if you're looking for some inspiration, don't burn the podcast onto a compact disc like some sort of caveman. No. Go ahead and inscribe on a golden record. Here's some ideas. You're going to want to, of course, just put one of the whole episodes. I think it would, for 3 hours, I think you're going to need to get about 17 golden records. Let's see here at about, do the math, $13,000 a piece times. It's going to be about $100,000 to get that much gold. But it's worth it. You're worth it. Then go ahead, put the podcast right there on the record. I don't know how to do it. Pay somebody to do it, I think. But you're going to want to put some other inscriptions so they know what they're looking at. If aliens find it out there, or more likely some dead NASA satellite bumps into them and has gained sentience because of the sort of frizzling of reality on the edges of the universe there. He'll want to find his way home. And you know what? It's a long ride from the outskirts of the solar system all the way in past the asteroid belt, all the way to the big blue beautiful baby we call Earth, if you believe in such a thing. And they're going to need a podcast to listen to, so just download all the podcasts, put them on a bunch of golden discs, inscribe what you want to communicate, what human beings might look like when they get there. And this is just an awesome opportunity to just kind of mess with them. I would say maybe just inscribe roosters, just a bunch of roosters and the different varieties of roosters. And also put like a big skull and crossbones over them, because we do not want these aliens falling for the propaganda roosters. Well, you guessed it, propaganda. So just do all of that stuff, I guess, and then the aliens will know about the show. And when they're asked, what led you here, they'll say meep moop moop, and then sort of telepathically communicate to every person on Earth that Canary Cry News Talk got them there. That'll be a pretty good PR. We'll probably get some pretty good downloads after that day, and it'll be all because of you. Thank you so much. We like to call it rattling cages, and if you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Any last words, Gonz?
Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you for being here. And
do it.
Hope you guys all enjoy. Friends, family,
Just take it easy. Take some deep breaths, everybody.
It's okay. You know, the world's blowing up, but you're fine.
It's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
Just get yourself some of your best buddy Basil's emu jerky coming in 2023. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Gonz, you know what's going on. Basil, Canary Cry News Talk, man, what's going on? Gotta turn it on, shows coming on live. VPN on when I'm going online. Anonymity, man, cryptocurrency. We got everything you need, get it 3 times a week. Jesus Christ the King, let the Holy Spirit speak. Battle in the cage, gotta set the captive free. Value for value, to me it's not free. Wish I had a longer streak, but this creativity, go fulfill the 3 T's. That's time, treasure, talent. Give it right back, put it right back in balance. Not right or left, we not with the distractions. Catastrophes are the classic techniques. All attacks of the enemy getting defeated underneath the feet of Jesus. Just believe us. Media is trying to deceive you. Gotta read between the lines till you see through the disguise. It's a slit reptilian eye sitting on top the pyramid. Got a myriad of topics. Might be on a watch list. R.I.P. face like the sun, but you cannot stop this. Like the Lord's gonna come stop this beast system. This infinite wisdom. Yeah, when the time is right, yeah, we're gonna take flight like a thief in the night. So I gotta get it right. I gotta repent and sit patient. Waiting for supply drop. Google eyes don't blink, man. I need some eye drops. Google mind deep thinking for the AI thoughts. Yeah, Basil, Gonz. You know what's going on. Basil, Gonz. Canary Cry News Talk, man, what's going on. Basil, Gonz. And you know what's going on. Basil, Gonz. Canary Cry News Talk, man, what's going on.
I heard behind me a loud voice like a trumpet, and it said, "Write down all that you see." I turned to see the voice, and there I saw 7 golden candles, and in the midst of them stood the Son of Man. His hair was white as wool. His eyes were like a flame of fire. His feet were like precious metals, refined and made to glow. His voice was like rushing waters, and his face was like the sun, shining in full strength. In his right hand he held 7 stars, and when I saw him, I fell at his feet. But he laid his hand on me and said, "Fear not, I am the Alpha and the Omega. I died in the flesh, and behold, I live forevermore." Now write down all that you see, that which has happened, and that which takes place after this. As for the mystery of the 7 stars in my right hand, and the 7 candles in my midst, the stars are the angels of the churches, and the candles are those churches. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come to stay with him, and he will stay with me. To the one who conquers, I will grant him to sit with me on my throne, as I also conquered and sat with my Father on his throne. At once I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne stood in heaven, and he who sat on the throne had the appearance of precious stones. Surrounding the throne were 24 other thrones, and there sat 24 elders, with crowns on their heads. From the center throne came flashes of lightning and rumblings of thunder, and before it there stood 7 torches of fire, which are the 7 spirits of God. All of this rested on a sea of glass like crystal. On each side of the throne are 4 living creatures, full of eyes. The first was like a lion. The second was like an ox. The third had the face of a man. And the fourth was like an eagle. Each of these creatures had 6 wings and were full of eyes all around. And when they give glory to him on the throne, the 24 elders fall and worship. They cast their crowns before the throne and say, "Worthy are you, our Lord and God, to receive the glory. For you created all things, and by your will they exist." Then, in the right hand of the one seated on the throne, I saw a scroll, sealed with 7 seals. A mighty angel called with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the scroll and break its seals?" And no one in heaven, or on earth, or under the earth was able to open the scroll. But the 24 elders said, "Behold, the Lion of Judah, the Root of David. He has conquered all, so that he can open the scroll and its seals." Then, in the midst of this throne room, I saw a lamb, which looked as though it had been slain. It had 7 horns and 7 eyes. These are the 7 spirits of God, sent out into all the earth. And he went and took the scroll from the right hand of the one seated on the throne. And when he had taken the scroll, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb. And they said, "Worthy are you to take the scroll and to open its seals. By your blood you ransomed the people for God. You have made them a kingdom of priests to our God, and they shall reign on the earth forevermore."
And they will be clothed in burlap and will prophesy during those 1,260 days. If anyone would harm them, fire pours from their mouth and consumes their foes. If anyone would harm them, this is how he is doomed to be killed. At the name of Jesus every knee should bow, of those in heaven and of those on earth and of those under the earth, and that every tongue should confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father.
I was
patreon.com/support.